Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs for caring for your home. Out. Indecision, overthinking, second-guessing every choice you make. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Beige on beige on beige. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Eddyville, Oregon, what seems like an accident at first turns out to be anything but that, as details emerge describing a most vicious and cold-blooded killing. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again and again. We really appreciate it. If it's your first time, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
If it is not your first time, welcome back. Thank you again for joining us. We're excited. I'm excited this week.
Every time.
I am in a state of overtired punchiness, man.
Great.
It's going to be a fun one. I have that overtired energy, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do that. We have a crazy case this week.
Excellent.
Hope you enjoyed last week in Tennessee, and you're definitely going to like this week in Oregon. Wild stuff coming your way. If you enjoyed last week, and if you enjoyed any of the shows, if you enjoyed this show, what you can do, get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon, let us know about it. It helps out a lot, and we have no idea why. Just helps drive you up the charts. What are you going to do? Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything small town murder and crime and sports related. Are you listening to crime and sports?
You should.
I know you are, Jimmy, but other people, if you're not, you are messing up.
Yeah.
If you like this show, we assure you will like that show. Check out this week's on an Italian boxer from New Jersey that will literally dip a sandwich into your neck wound as a threat. That's It's amazing.
You'll be happier about your own life.
You will be much happier about your own life. Check that out. Also, get your tickets to live shows and merchandise, all sorts of stuff up at the shop. New stuff is up right now. Live shows are all being rescheduled for next year. They were just doing Cleveland, Columbus, and Pittsburgh. Right. I know they're rescheduled now. I don't remember the dates, but sometime 2021. Get your tickets. Whenever the shows happen, you will have tickets to them and everything like that. If you want to be a hero, an even bigger hero to the show, you could be a producer.
Yeah.
What do they get, Jimmy?
Boy.
Gonna screw up their names?
I'll fucking ruin it.
He assures you he will mispronounce your name at the end of the show. And in addition to that, you will get access to all of our bonus material, including the crime and sports bonuses, where we did Vince McMahon's steroid trial this week over there on the bonus episode. This week for Small Town Murder, we have one of the most insane people, top 10 insane person for small town murder history. Yeah. It's just not like long enough to make an entire, like a regular episode out of it. It's the only reason it's a bonus. It's crazy enough to be 2 episodes. It's bonkers. So check that out. Yeah, it's some satanic cannibal, but not really, but sort of. But it's recent too, so the dude's got social media posts. So it's nuts, man.
They always bring heat.
Oh boy, yeah, it's a fun one. You can get all of that at patreon.com/crime and sports, and that'll get you access anything above the $5 level. And also, if you want to be just a hero to the show and a producer and still get your name screwed up and just be a nice person with karma, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com. Quick disclaimer, this is a comedy show. Yeah. Definitely a comedy show. We are comedians, so we're going to find some comedy in things. That's how we do things. The way we look at the show, the approach to the show is the murders have happened. Yeah. Bad things have happened.
I can't stop it.
We can't stop it. There's nothing we can do about it. What we can try to do is not make it as kind of creepy, I guess, because it's still going to be dark and creepy, but you don't have to die. The people, no murder porn is what we're getting at. We prefer rather than, and then he cut her head from her body and severed it, held it above. Like, that's a little, I feel like someone's getting off on that. Whereas with us, we try to take a little lighter approach to it and then obviously give the things that deserve weight, like crazy, murder, actually. But a lot of stuff happens around murder that's hilarious. And we're going to concentrate on a little bit of that.
That's the despicable behavior we like.
That's it right there. Because I'm telling you, we go out of our way to not make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why is that?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
There you have it.
That's how it works. So if that sounds good to you, you're going to have a good time. If it doesn't sound good to you, true crime and comedy should never be in the same area at all together for you, well, then you should probably go. Yeah. Or give us a chance, but don't complain about it later because we warned you. Yeah. But for everyone else who's sitting there ready to enjoy a crazy story, I think it's time. Flex those lungs. Sit back and shout, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy.
I can't wait.
Let's go on a trip.
I would love it.
Shall we? Let's go from the east all the way in Tennessee, all the way out to the West Coast. All right. It's been a while since we visited the West Coast.
Yeah, and it's a lovely time of year to be there.
We need to be there. Yeah, I wish it's 110 degrees in Phoenix, so I would, it hasn't rained in 4 months. Yeah. I would do anything to be in the Northwest right now. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Holy shit. We're going to Eddyville, Oregon today. Which you've probably never heard of because it's a tiny, tiny town.
Is it named after a person or like a Gulf Eddy?
Oh, no, it's named after a guy, and this guy is hilarious. Wait till you...
Eddyville.
Eddyville is that's his last name. Okay. It's not like Cousin Eddyville, luckily. But
That's
what
I was saying.
This guy is totally Cousin Eddy, though. It's amazing. It's on the Central Coast region, but a little more north than Central, but kind of near the coast. It's 2 hours to Portland, about 4.5 hours up to Seattle, about an hour and a half to Springfield, Oregon, which was episode 141, which is our last Oregon episode. It was October of last year.
Jesus.
That was the Barton Millhouse murder. Oh, yeah. That was a really messed up murder there, so check that one out. But this is in Lincoln County. How many counties are Lincoln in this country?
So many.
I'd like to count up the Lincoln, Washington, and Jackson counties and see how many there are. Yeah. Holy shit.
And Polk.
And Polk, a lot of Polk counties, yeah. And they must have been naming counties. Those guys were really in Providence. Some prime county naming days.
When they were in happier times.
Yeah, I guess so. So, zip code 97343, area code 541. history of this town. I'll give you a short little history here. The town is named for Israel F. Eddy, who was postmaster here in 1888.
That's wild.
Now, this guy apparently was a giant person.
Yeah.
Not like a, freak of nature.
Yeah.
Not like, he wasn't like a circus freak or anything, but
Andre the Giant?
Yeah, nothing like that. But he was a big guy and a big heavy set guy and like a big, strong, giant son of a bitch, basically. They said he had remarkable strength. And what he used to do is, if people were like fighting in the streets and the saloons, he would go out to the post office and start and clean it up. He was like the town bouncer. Yeah. Real tomato ketchup, Eddie? It's like the town bouncer.
Yeah.
He would come out, and it says from this historical thing here that he would, quote, seize brawlers by the neck and dunk them into the horse trough.
Wow.
Stop them from fighting.
I guess, if you're that big that you can pick people up like that.
Dunk them in, and he's like, name the fucking town after me. I'll dunk you all in the horse trough. They're like, Jesus. Okay, it's Eddy Town. Eddyville. Oh, Eddyville. Yeah, sure, Eddyville. No problem, Eddie.
Yeah, they were auditioning.
No problem, buddy. You got it. Jesus. At the wedding in 1908, at the wedding of a local young woman, he appeared wearing a coonskin cap and ear trumpet. I don't know what an ear trumpet is.
I'm going to assume it's those things, the flaps that come down?
I don't know. It says coonskin cap and ear trumpet.
Oh,
I don't know.
Maybe that's just like earmuffs.
I don't know. But he gets to this wedding and tells the story, gathers everyone around and tells the story about how he had the flu and was near death and cured himself by drinking, quote, a swig of piano polish that he thought was medicine. He mistaked it for medicine in his feverish state.
So no other objections to this wedding?
And drank some piano polish.
He just pops into a wedding. Listen, everybody.
And then he was like, carry on. And then they were like, I guess we're getting married now.
Kiss the bride now.
And he's sitting there with his coonskin cap on in the middle of the ceremony.
Wow.
Talking about, anybody else wants this piano polish is delicious. It's got medicinal qualities. It cured me of the damn flu. And I'll tell you what, there's just a pininess to it that is just refreshing.
And if you drink it along with this gel mold with cat food in it, it's pretty delicious.
I've just been using it as mouthwash. I'll tell you what, that's all. It's good, Clark. Fucking Cousin Eddy.
Damn it. He's a blast.
He is, man. And when he did this in 1908, he was 84 years old. So he's this giant, crazy old man who's like been beating people up in town for the last 50 years, and he just shows up being like, I drank piano polish and cured myself of the flu, and then sits down.
Y'all ain't seen me in 30 years. I've been drinking turpentine.
Oof, boy, that's why I'm still alive.
That's why I got these trumpets in my ears.
That's right. I wish I knew what that was. He died in 1911 at 87 years old.
3 years later.
So 3 years later. That's pretty good, though. Make it 87 back then?
Yeah.
Before there was even, like, fucking real medicine was furniture polish. That was fucking medicine back then.
Drinking Old English.
Yeah, that's not bad. And not the beer.
Right.
The actual polish.
The actual wood polish.
So, yeah, the post office was established in 1868, and then it was originally called Little Elk for the nearby river. There's a Little Elk River is nearby. Okay. So a lot of things are named Little Elk, including something in our story today. And then Eddy, though, himself moved the town, I don't know if by hand.
Probably.
Just put it on his back. One house at a time or what. But he moved it further from the creek so there'd be less chance of flooding.
Smart man.
Hey, stupids. Right. You see this? If it rains, guess what happens?
And he did that when he was 86.
Yeah. And he renamed it there. And basically, they moved back and forth the town kept moving back and forth for some reason and kept changing its name also.
They're trying to run Eddy off.
Yeah. It's literally like, they're like, we can't make it Eddyville. And then they were like, well, it's Little Elk. Well, it's something Creek. Well, it's, and they kept renaming it, moving the shit. And then finally, in 1900, the post office near the mouth of the creek was built with the name Eddyville. And that was that.
Done.
Fucking done.
Yeah.
Eddy didn't have to kick anybody any more ass after that. He was happy. It was one of the stops on the Oregon Pacific Railroad. And after the railroad failed financially, it went through 17 years of financial and legal complications, and then finally became a branch of the Southern Pacific Railroad. back then. Anyway, it was originally the U.S. established 1.3 million acres in this area of reservation, of Indian reservation, and it was more than 4,000 people from 20 different tribes were quote resettled into this reservation, as they put it.
Shown some land we won't fuck with them on.
Resettled that's a way to put it. So the location here, was chosen because the government deemed the area unfit for farming and inaccessible. Literally, they were like, what's the worst 1 million acres we can come up with? We got 1 million acres for y'all. Beautiful. Also inaccessible to other things. So, the natives ended up going to the reservation and suffered from lack of food and housing, and also they crammed all these different tribes into one place. They don't live together normally. They're different people. So they fought over different cultures and who's going to run things. And it turns into we've
got a chief already. We don't need yours.
We were going fine for hundreds of thousands of years. Thanks. So,
did you know, I learned recently that there is something called the Jays Treaty, that border between Canada and America and Mexico and America, that doesn't fucking exist to them. Isn't that awesome? They can do whatever the fuck they want. That's great.
Yeah, well, and I noticed also if something about murder on a reservation is tried in federal court always. There's a lot of different rules. I know back in the day, I was a process server, and you can't serve papers on reservation land.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's like you have to be like, well, sorry. Like, got to catch you outside the res, I guess. It sucked.
That's a cool little benefit that they have.
Neat benefit.
That's a tough way to get it.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it, but still.
Way to get it.
We'll take all the land, and you cannot be served process. How's that sound? Good?
Great. Horn from Letterkenny taught me that. She's brilliant.
Okay. So 1861, some shit happened. A sea captain was shown beds of rare, delicate oysters in the bay around here. And companies from San Francisco came to harvest the oysters, which created conflicts with payment to the reservation Indians who technically own that bay. So there was a lot of problem there, and they depleted the entire oyster supply within a couple of years because that's what we do.
And they're delicious.
And they're absolutely great. And around the same time, regular troops on the reservation were needed for the Civil War because they had troops there, and so they were replaced by volunteer soldiers who lobbied then to open the land up and not make it reservation. So the government opened up the bay to non-Indian settlement, and that's how that ended up happening. Fur traders and hillbillies of various stripes came there seeking free land, and
the dregs.
I'm gonna kill me some beavers, and sell them to a rich guy.
That's how I'm gonna make it.
I'm gonna make it. So the country here, they got a logging boost here. The army built infrastructure, including roads and railroad lines, and that's how they started doing logging around here. That's what Eddyville is. It's kind of a pass through for logging trucks.
Got it.
Like, they don't even stop there, but if you're like hanging out in Eddyville, you hear a lot of logging trucks go by. That's kind of how it works there. The Roosevelt Military Highway was built in the 1920s, and that was it started with World War I to be able to move supplies. So that helped this area a lot. They tried to evacuate the residents, and basically because they wanted to change the road system for military equipment, they opened up a highway and shit like that. But the people, these rednecks stick when they find a place.
They do.
They hang on.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about Tennessee up in the mountains. There's no reason to be there.
No.
They hang on. God damn it. They're like, Dolly Parton's coming someday.
My grandpa started this.
She started it. He started it, and I just know she's going to walk out of Dollywood and talk to all of us.
And bare that chest.
Yeah. No shit. So the road that they built, shockingly enough, follows old Indian routes to the coast because they found the easiest roads, the same ones that they used to follow back in the day there. Now, population of this town, fucking small.
Yeah.
And this is actually overblown. In the town proper, there's about 30 people. Literally, about 30 people.
How do you manage?
And then in the little surrounding area that's sort of still considered, quote, town, there's 214 people.
Okay.
So we're
still under 300.
This is a small town. Yeah. I mean, it's really tiny. So the stats are hilarious always because they're way skewed, and you can have a weird stat that would make no sense anywhere else.
You have 75% children. You're like, how the fuck?
How the hell does that happen? I don't know.
It is.
Down 58% since 1990
that makes
of
sense.
the population here. Now, way more males than females, which is strange because the median age is 55 and a half.
Really?
Which is almost 20 years older than normal.
Yeah.
So usually there's way more females, but for some, I don't know if it's because of logging or I don't know.
Dangerous fucking job, babe.
I don't know what it is, but it's 56% men, also 300 people. So it could just be 3 women moved and 5 guys moved in and screwed up the whole fucking ratio. I mean, honestly, there are literally 0 children listed as existing in this town.
0
children. Like in the official stats of the 214 people, none of them are below the age of 18.
Wow.
So there are literally, this is the town without children.
See, this just went the opposite way of what
weird.
I thought it was.
No,
you know what I mean?
None.
Could be 75% children. How about 0?
None. Are they eating them? What's happening in this town? That seems on purpose.
Is this where adrenochrome gets all their fucking?
So I'm like, yeah. Are they like? Do they have a thing? Like, if you have a baby, you have to give it to the town, and they process it somehow.
And they sell it to Tom Hanks.
Soylent Green is babies. It's what the fuck, dude? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. They sell it to him so he can feel better. So weird. We've never had that before. I don't care if there's 50 people. Someone's going to spit a kid out, I would imagine. And nope, not here.
Not even an accident.
Apparently not. No kids. So married population is 51%, but the married with children is 0.0%.
That is wild.
Married with no children, 85%. And then single with no children, almost 15%. So
are they all sterile?
I don't know.
How the fuck is that?
A lot of them are old.
Yeah.
But then there's a bunch of them that are like 30 to 40, and I'm well, you're in child rearing years. What's happening here? How are there no children?
Just love oral? How do you not have a kid on accident?
That's what I'm saying. Nobody gets drunk once in a while and fucking.
How are you
Jesus.
so goddamn responsible?
That's perfect.
Teach all of us.
Either perfect or there's such bad ecological things going on there that everyone is completely barren.
Just barren.
One of the two.
There's no milk.
Nothing.
No honey.
Nothing swimming. Shit there. Race of this town, almost 95% white, which is kind of to be expected in a kind of a weird mountain Oregon town. 0.5% black, which is literally one guy.
It is.
That is one man or woman. I don't know. There is one black person in this town.
That is wild.
And we know they're over the age of 18. Other than that, though, nothing. 0.0%. Asian, Native American even. I guess. All gone by now. Yeah. Hispanic.
They couldn't have kids, James.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. 5.1% Hispanic, which, means there's 10 people?
Right.
That's 10.
Right.
10. So that's, that could be 1 or 2 families, basically, which is crazy. 21.8% of the people are religious, which is well under the 50-50 barrier, which the town's starting to redeem itself to me here. 1.5% Baptist, couple of Catholics here and there, and 0.0% Jewish, 0.0% Muslim. This county, Lincoln County, is a very liberal county. Last voting in 2016 presidential election, 49.5% voted Democrat, 39% Republican, and almost 11% independent. So
interesting.
It's an independent kind of an area. These Oregon woods, it's kind of like New Hampshire. It's
all
the
bets
same.
Are off.
Yeah, all bets are off. It might be a hippie encampment with a bunch of weed smoking people who don't realize that Woodstock is over still, even though they were born well after Woodstock.
Yeah.
Or it can be just militias.
The Woodstock they know had like Cypress Hill at it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, remember that? Oh, it was beautiful. Oh, when Limp Bizkit took the stage. It was an event for our entire generation. I'll tell you what.
Had all black eyes. That was crazy.
Oh, man, it was just something else, boy. It's fucking
Fred with his fucking
ridiculous, man. Fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I guess it makes them feel good about themselves. That's good there. Unemployment rate in this town is about 4.5%, which, I mean, that was before everything happened here, so who knows. Median household income, not great.
No.
And normally it's about $57,500. Here, $24,688.
These people are living off the land?
It would seem so almost.
How the fuck do you make it?
60% of the people here make $30,000 or less.
I can't.
I don't know how that works exactly. I don't know. You must have, I assume, how do you even pay rent? And, cost of living isn't low here either, as we'll look at. 100 is regular average. Here it's 114.
That's too much.
Out of 100. Housing is the highest thing of all. Housing is a 170 out of 100. Median home cost $391,700. is the median home cost here.
How is this not just a fucking homeless camp?
That's the crazy thing. I don't know if there's not a lot of homes available. Like I said, I don't know if these are like generations. These houses have been in for generations, or people don't leave, so they've owned it for 40 years when it was cost nothing probably.
You've got money in the bank, but you don't make much. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you have property, but you don't make much, which used to happen a lot back in the day. People would buy a house in 1953, and then by 1985, it would be worth a lot of money, but they don't have any money, but they had a house that's worth money, so then they sell that and they move to Florida and buy a shithole that's half the price, and that's what happens.
Or go to Eddyville.
That's New York. That's the cycle of New York. That's what everybody does. So, the median home cost $391,700, which is rough. 22% of the houses are worth under $20,000, and the rest are worth over $300,000. So, trailer or shit you can't afford. Those are your options here. And if we've convinced you, damn it, you need to, go to the woods for some reason. We have for you the Eddyville, Oregon Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $884 a month, which is below the average by far.
Yeah,
so
but
that's a trailer, though. I mean, that's not a
that math doesn't work out.
There's no apartments, and I don't see any places for rent if you look in here anyway.
Good Lord, that's a lot of ramen you're eating.
I found a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,578 square foot house, which is like a family kind of typical whatever average house here. It's on 18 acres though, for $224,305.
That's a goddamn deal.
That's a deal, and that's the only thing I could think is all these houses come with land. None of them are like a quarter-acre lot. They're all on like acres. So I mean, maybe that's why the houses are more valuable.
Acres.
Yeah, I found a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,408 square foot house. It's not great. No. It's on 8 acres of property. The property looks like a shitty militia meets there, like every Saturday. You know what I mean? Like there's like a rally spot in the back where you could tell someone stands and gives speeches. This is $385,000 for this, which 8 acres in a big house, but. Then I found 107.96 acres of trees for $625,000.
That's awesome.
That's a shitload of land.
Yeah.
You can start your own militia there and that's a lot of land.
Or you could buy it and start chopping today, and in 10, 15 years, you'll have enough
shitloads of weed.
Yeah, you'll have enough wood to build that house.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of land, man. Things to do here in this town. Claim a mine.
Yeah.
There's mines to claim.
Of course.
You can make claims on mines. There's a whole...
Abandoned?
I suppose. I really tried hard to understand what was happening on this website. It's called thediggings.com.
Okay.
And you can go here and you can see where there's mines that are open, mines that you can put claims in on and like try to...
Hopefully get squatters
get
rights
stuff at it. I don't know what it is.
Or is this like name a star websites?
No. This is like
bullshit?
No, you can claim it. Like Eddyville, Oregon includes 170 nearby mines. I saw, and like there's like 4 mines that have a bunch of them have claims on them. I don't know if that means you can go like getting an Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom cart and get on down there and try to dig something out of the earth or what, but I don't even know what the fuck they're mining up there, but either way, you can claim a mine. You can go to Burnt Woodstock.
Oh, boy.
That's
Burnt Woodstock.
Burnt Woodstock.
So they're combining Burning Man and Woodstock together. Who's performing?
I think it's Woodstock, but like burnt Woodstock because we're burnt out here.
Got it.
Because it's like that sort of thing.
Burnouts.
Yeah, it looks it's a venue. This burnt Woodstock, and they have concerts there all the time. And it looks like a big giant barn in the middle of nowhere.
How many people does it hold?
I don't know, but it's got a. We're going to play there.
Yeah,
it's got a big barn
that we can get under the minimum.
Yeah, right. No shit. Fuck. Never mind our sold out 2 straight theater shows we have on hold in fucking Portland. They're both sold out.
We're in Eddyville.
You know what it's like to have 2 straight sold out theater shows as a comedian in one city? It's feel
ridiculous.
Amazing, and then you can't do it, and you feel
fair.
terrible because we can't go there.
I look in the mirror and go, "You're a winner, you fucking loser."
Yeah, you fucking loser. Piece of shit.
You win and you still suck.
You're doing great, you piece of shit. That's a good thing to tell yourself every day. So apparently there's music acts here all over the place.
Sure.
The Kasners are the people that own it, and it used to be like cattle and shit, and then they decided that they were going to do this and have burnt Woodstock. Okay. And they and their crew provide free natural water, it says. No bullshit like you're not paying $3 for a Dasani or any of that shit here. They said sensitive to working man's hours, Burnt Woodstock's music won't actually begin until 6 p.m. on a Friday. To keep the natives from getting restless, a showcase stage was added to entertain between main stage acts. More than 25 bands will be on hand over the 3-day stretch, including the Luminaries, Return Flight, the Fret Drifters, Rhythm Culture, which sounds like a 1991 R&B group.
Or just a song that Janet Jackson sang.
One of those, yeah. No, it's part 2 of Rhythm Nation. Right. Engraved, Rail, just Rail. The Dirk Quinn Band.
Nope. Don't want it.
Dirk Quinn.
That's terrible.
Brother Youssef.
Oh.
Okay.
I know who that is. Do I know? I swear I know who that is. I know who the Luminaries are for sure.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They got a huge song. I forget the name of it. They got like 2 or 3 of them.
Okay. Well, right. Black Bottom Lighters.
Nope.
I don't know what that is. New Liberty. The Outlets with a Z.
Oh, boy.
Undertow. That's a nautical theme, I have a feeling.
I hate it.
Teddy Presburg's Resistance Organ Trio.
Too many words.
Wow. Holy shit.
Just missing the word Presbyterian in
Resistance Organ Trio. That's a lot of shit going on. He's missing he needs like a police benevolent fucking society resistance organ trio. Baby Gramps.
What?
I don't know.
No.
Baby Grandpa.
It's a SoundCloud rapper.
That's, Baby Gramps, motherfucker. Maybe. And Indubious.
Okay.
As opposed to Out Dubious. I don't know what the fuck. Indubious. So admission.
It's trying to make it sound nefarious of some sort.
That's what I mean.
But dubious is the word.
That's
and
it's
the
also
one, buddy.
It's $60 for a 3-day pass for this.
That's
$60.
Well,
I mean, you get free water, I guess. That's something.
And it's natural water, James.
Well,
like
in other words, they just dipped it in the creek,
somewhere?
probably.
Right.
It's probably, that's what I assume.
Is this ocean water? Natural.
Natural. Salty. Salty.
Have that with an ham
Good,
sandwich.
yeah, you're gonna like it. $40 for 2 days and $20 for Friday or Sunday only. $30 for Saturday. That's what the big acts are.
Yeah.
And free for children under 17 with a paid adult.
Because they know nobody's there.
No. Camping, cedar chips for camping, and parking, which includes RV parking, are also free. Tickets and merchandising sales help benefit some shit that I don't know what it is.
Do I not know something about cedar chips?
I don't know. I mean,
fucking
put
hamster?
them down. That's what I was going to say. To shit in or to set up in?
I gotta bring my own terrarium? What the fuck is this?
What's going on? If they have a big tube to run through, I would enjoy that. I've always been jealous of hamsters. That looks like fun.
You got a big wheel?
Set me up a big obstacle course. I've never had one of those. It looks great.
I do want one of those big balls that they just get to run around in.
They look
Remember
like
those?
fun.
Yeah.
You can get one of those.
Yeah. Can you?
You ever seen Kenny versus Spenny?
No.
It's great.
Is it a blow-up one?
It's a big inflatable ball that he's inside of.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And they're in the white suits because it was who can get less stains on their white outfit. And basically what happened is Kenny took a piece of dog shit and threw it in there with Spenny. And then also while Spenny was trying to get the dog shit out, he pissed into the thing, closed the hatch, and pushed him down a big hill. So he then tumbled down a giant hill into piss and shit that he could not control inside of a giant ball.
Multi-species.
It was wonderful. It was really fucking special. Really special.
I do want one. We used to have a shitload of hamsters, and we'd put them in that ball, and then we'd forget that they were in there, and then we'd find the ball with the hatch off, and one would make a fucking jailbreak.
Yeah, they're good at it, too.
Find it 2 days later.
They're good. Now, for more information on Burnt Woodstock, it says to visit burntwoodstock.com, but then the website doesn't work, so I don't think you should want to do that. And also, I won't even give you any details. Celebrate Canada Day here.
Why?
I have no fucking idea, and I don't want to know.
They're proud of it.
Crime rate, what we're interested in here, is property crime is about 25% high. I don't know. You'd think you would know everyone. Yeah. Bob stole my shit. I saw him. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is almost double.
Wow.
So this is very unexpected from a town with so little. Just the fact that they all know each other, I guess it breeds contempt. I have no fucking idea. I don't know if there's a lot of domestic violence here to jack the stats up. Or
there's still a lot of thieves and psychos riding the rail cars coming through.
Maybe drifters, hobos with a bindle slung over their shoulder.
Everybody's getting hurt around here.
You never know. But let's talk about a murder.
Okay.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Okay.
What do you say here, Jimmy? This is interesting. Let's get into this, all right? Let's see here. Let's talk about a woman named Dorothy Biggs.
All right.
Okay, now Dorothy here, she in 1984, she is she's born in 1935.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the math
50
on that.
something years old.
So she's 49 in 1984.
That was close.
So we're going to go back. Yeah. She's married 3 times. By the 80s, she's on her 3rd husband here. And, that's fine. Things don't work out.
50, you should be on your 3rd.
Yeah, that's when you get to your 3rd. And then maybe if he drops dead, she can get a 4th then.
There you
go. Like my grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandma did that.
Just keep trying.
Grandma kills she's killed many husbands. It's worse than...
Outlived them.
Oh, well, no. No. She definitely contributed to their deaths. Definitely. There's no doubt about it. Especially my other grandmother, the racist Nan there. Yeah. She 100%... I mean, my grandfather had cancer and everything like that, but she totally seemed thrilled about it. That was one thing. But then she got another boyfriend who's, what old people do is when their spouses die, they just get... whoever's left gets together. It's just
like... They're leftovers.
That's it. And then you just sit together and watch TV and eat food and
We're
shit.
not going to fuck, obviously.
Go to Florida once in a while.
Complain together.
That's what they do. So she hooks up with this guy, and they're together. And so she goes to move, and rather than hiring movers, because they're all in their 80s, she decides to make him help her move furniture. Jimmy, furniture. They're 85 years old.
Harold, can you get my hutch?
So Damon was his name. Right. So Damon was like, he had this thick head of white hair and just like, huh? What's going on there? He was just this happy, smiley Italian guy that had no fucking idea where he was half the time. He was like, what happened there? All right. Hey, good to see you there, pal.
It's awfully warm in New York.
No idea what the fuck he was.
You're in Florida.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, that makes sense. Those palm trees, right? I was wondering when they planted those in the neighborhood. All right. It's a good deal. Like, he was just this nice fucking... Okay. So anyway, he asked his brother to come over and help, who's also in his 80s, right. And he dies on my grandmother's stairs trying to carry a fucking desk down the stairs because he's 85 years old.
Get up, Pete.
Literally down the stairs, and fucking drops dead on the stairs. So she killed him and then eventually killed Damon as well. So she's taking out whole families. But not this one. These husbands all lived, from what I know, anyway. So Dorothy Biggs, by now she's on her third husband named Dwight.
Great.
Dwight Biggs is his name. She took his name. She also has a son, David Herbert Hart, who was born, Hart is from the previous marriage.
Right.
He was born in 1967. And also living with them at this point, kind of late 70s, early 80s, is Dwight's son and Dorothy's stepson, Troy Biggs. So, and he's a teenager as well, around David's age. So, two teenage boys and father and mother, stepfather.
Jesus.
And they moved to Eddyville for some reason in 1979.
This is their choice.
They moved here. Yeah. They had no, family connection here. Dorothy's born in Minnesota.
Okay.
They come up in Minnesota. Her kids live in Minnesota, a lot of them. There's very, very strange... I don't know, they've picked it out of a hat or what they did, just spun a globe and put a fucking finger on it or what. But
got a realtor that told them about a bunch of land?
I'll tell you what, there's a place.
Yeah, hard to tell there's some land out there.
It's hard to find now, but still, you're going to find it. She also has a son. She's got a lot here. She's got, let's see, one son, 1, 2, and then a daughter. 1, 2, 3 daughters. Yeah, it looks like she has 3 daughters and 2 sons is what it looks like here of her own. And most of them live in some live here and some live in Minnesota. Is how it works here. Now, Dorothy, like I said, born in Minnesota. She came in 1979 to the Eddyville area. She's a registered nurse. But she doesn't move here to be a nurse. She moves here to run the store in town. The Little Elk store.
Yeah.
And it's the only store in town.
She's in trouble?
Well, she also works at a nursing home, but that's not her primary occupation. Her primary thing is running the store, and they live above the store. So it's like one of those deals. There's a couple others, like a trailer on the property and another house that's like that nobody lives in behind the house that they own. They own this whole kind of lot.
From Minnesota to this.
From Minnesota to that. Don't know why. Yeah. Now, Dorothy Ann Biggs, she graduated in 1972 from the University of Oregon School of Nursing in Portland. That's the only thing that I can see is that she went to school in Portland and then maybe knew of this area and liked it.
This way,
wanted to live in the country. I mean, there's plenty of country in Minnesota, but it's cold there. Let's be honest. You have to really be okay with that shit. Like,
you got to earn it.
It's not. Yeah, Minnesota's not like, well, I like it, so I'll put up with the cold. Like, you have to be like ready for that fucking cold.
The last one we
played, like going to war there. The cold.
Holy shit!
Oh, dude, cold.
Opening the window. Yeah,
not the last one. The one before that.
No, the
last one we were there was in the summer.
No,
we were there in August. Remember?
Is that right?
Yeah, we went out to dinner. Walked around on the streets.
When we were
Remember
in
that?
we
were smoking the sour diesel pen in the street. It was wonderful.
When we were across the street from the Bucks, though.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Was it?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, you know what? That's Milwaukee.
That's Milwaukee, the Bucks. Yeah.
What am I doing?
And then we were in Minnesota though when it was like negative degrees time before that, and it was fucking amazingly cold.
I'm remembering Minnesota.
Yeah, as Milwaukee. So yeah, there you go. They're gonna love you in Minnesota for that. Everyone wants to be confused with Milwaukee.
Remember we were across the street from the Bucks? That Minnesota.
Yeah. The only city in the country two cities in the country that would maybe not be offended by that are Cleveland and Buffalo.
Right.
Everywhere else, and anywhere in Florida, obviously, because that's just an embarrassment. So she went there. She worked in this area, too, as part-time. She ran the store and then also did the nursing thing on the side. She worked at the New Lincoln Hospital and Care Center in Toledo, which was nearby, and also had the Little Elk store there. And she's also a member of the Catholic Church that's nowhere near here.
Right.
So she's got that going on here. Now, the family moved to Eddyville, and Eddyville, I don't know if we described it well enough in the town description, but it's isolated out here. It really, like, the school is in the whole area that has a bunch of kids from the area is, K through 12.
Yeah.
And it's no high school or anything.
One building.
K through 12, and there's like 200 kids in the school.
Right.
And that's all the kids in the entire area. So think about that shit. One person called it in the area, quote, no more than a wide place in the road, and more than that than a town even. So a guy here says, all there is the principal of the school. All there is in the way of business is the school, the church, the post office, and a mill that just opened here last year. It's a very rural atmosphere, backed up mostly by logging and farming. So, yeah, it's property. It's people with property, and they do shit like that. They said the actual community of Elkville itself here, or Eddyville. Elkville. Did I say Elkville?
That's two places.
Wow. Eddyville. They said that it's pretty much consists of about 10 families, basically, kind of scattered around. That's what the minister said. They said the Little Elk store was about the only store around for miles. And it really was. There was not another place you could get like groceries for 10 miles into the town of Blodgett. You'd have to go for that. So that becomes a center of the town in a rural place like this. It's like the old-timey general store, basically. And they have a bit of everything. They say she had vegetables, fresh vegetables, milk, beer, hardware.
Yep.
You could get nails and a six-pack and, a gallon of milk there. So
there's a door hinge, tomato, and some motor oil.
And do you have an axle for a Model T? They have everything there.
Aisle 6.
Aisle 6 is down there. I don't know. It just appears. You can keep looking. So it's actually, the store is actually 3 miles east of the town proper, but it's right there. It's all counts as the Eddyville here. It's along the highway, and most of the people there are either truck drivers or, people just making a shortcut to somewhere else that are like, holy shit, a store. I haven't seen one of those in a while. So they stop, or the locals who are there. Kind of people stop there like every day.
Right. It's either people that need stuff or people that are like, "Isn't this hilarious?"
I'm going to take a picture in front of this place. Right. They have like a cigar store Indian out front or something that people take
out where you stick your fucking face through.
Yeah, it's like when you're driving to Vegas and what is it, Wiki Up?
Yeah.
They have that fucking store like that. It's just all stupid turquoise jewelry and a terrible little restaurant. And then across the street, quote unquote, in the desert, highway. They have a rocket, a big giant rocket thing with Snoopy and Woodstock sitting on it for some reason. I have no idea why. And it says Wiki Up Arizona on it. So figure that shit out. No clue.
These small town, like fucking Gila Bend has that space lodge.
Yeah, what is that? The town's just a speed trap. Right. It's a place to slow down to 30 so they can give you a ticket. And it has like
a space lodge.
It has cafe? Like an alien cafe and an old like space motel that's like ripped apart and not open anymore. That's the whole town.
And across the street, an Italian restaurant that says best Italian in town. Probably. Yeah. It's also the worst.
It's also the only food in town. Right. And also the windows have cardboard on them. So I don't think I'm going to go ahead and pass.
So weird as shit.
So the sign on the bulletin board here is Dorothy's known as very nice around town and very caring. The sign on the bulletin board outside, because they had like a town bulletin board outside the store where people would put stuff up and people actually looked at it.
Right.
It was like an actual like
a cork board with push pins.
A town center. That was like, oh, look at that. Bobby's got vegetables. Or his harvest came in. Good deal. I'm going to get me a pumpkin.
Molly, you need to make some money in this house. Go down to the bulletin board and see if there's some babysitting.
You have some babysitting. Also, you could sell your jars of jelly you've been doing, right? That's nice.
Or your ass, whatever.
Whatever you got. I'm sure that's a section for it.
Get down there, Molly.
Those loggers get horny, Molly. That's all I'm going to say to you. Now, she in her handwritten note on the thing, it says, quote, if you don't want your cats, leave them here.
Oh, my.
She's a cat lover.
Oh, boy.
And so basically, if you're going to throw your cat out instead of getting rid of it, bring it to Dorothy and she'll take care of it.
Save a burlap sack and bring me the cat.
Yeah, bring me the cat, which is nice. Yeah. A resident said, quote, when I took my little kids down there, she's always sticking something in the bag extra, a banana, candy, something like that. Like she always a little extra for the kids. Like, there's a little treat in there for you. Okay. It's a very neighborhood thing. One guy said that he used to go to Dorothy's 5 days a week to get milk and eggs or whatever. And he says that she was very generous. She always offered a lot to the community. She was a friend. She helped people out when they needed somewhere to stay. She was known for like taking in transients for a night that like needed a place to stay. People passing through town that were drifters and shit. She would like take them in and feed them. And
this sounds like her dream.
This is weird. Sounds like she's in the 30s, first of all.
Right, it sounds like she did really well in Minnesota and moved here to live a happy life and give back a little bit.
I don't know how well, but she's
a dangerous fucking life.
Yeah, if you're inviting transients from the mountains into your house, I don't know how happy that is.
That's crazy.
Seems frightening. But this guy also says when we were having some hard times, she'd carry our credit as far as the groceries, which really helped. So she would give people credit until they could pay back. Because they were neighbors. They weren't going anywhere. Yeah. Where the fuck are they going?
Right.
So, I mean, if they get their house taken away from them and they have to leave, then your grocery bill is really kind of a secondary concern for them anyway. So
point.
Otherwise, so the family lives above this store. Yeah. Like I said, their apartment is above the store. In 1983, there's always some problems, but in 1983, the problems kind of come to a head, and Dwight leaves the family. Okay. The third husband's gone here.
Is that enough?
And it's mainly because of her son, David. Uh-huh. Now, the weird thing is Dwight takes off, but his son stays.
Oh.
Yeah, which is weird as shit. It's a strange fucking thing. His son, Troy, stays here.
How old
with
is
her.
Troy?
Teenager. Same shit. I don't know if it's not to disrupt him in school or what the fuck the deal is, but in the apartment, it turns out, is Dorothy, David, and Troy live there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's very strange that he would leave his son there, but maybe that's how good she is. I don't know. Maybe that's how nice she is or whatever. So, problem is Dwight, I'm going to go ahead on a limb and assume that this is the reason why the marriage broke up, because it happened around the same time. But this is around this time Dwight is convicted of assault after threatening David with a knife and a baseball bat. So
he's the asshole.
If you threaten someone's teenage son with a knife and baseball bat to the point of conviction, that might end their marriage.
Yeah.
That's not going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird Thanksgiving.
And the stepson decided, I'm going to keep mom.
And maybe that's why, because his dad is fucking threatens teenagers with knives and baseball bats. So maybe it's you know what? I'm not doing too great in science. Right. I don't really want to fucking mess with this guy. Some bad shit can happen here. So 1984 comes around. And this is really when the whole thing happens here. 1984. Let's think about 1984 for a minute. Mm-hmm. Ronald Reagan gets reelected.
I'm 3.
Hulk Hogan hasn't uttered the N-word yet. Still on top of the world. He isn't even bald yet.
Right.
Hulk Hogan has hair. That's how long ago this is. Michael Jackson's black. Bill Cosby's white. Shit's fucked up, dude.
And there are kids trapped in the upside down.
I was just going to say, and Demogorgons rule the upside down. It's a weird time, everybody. Very strange. Hulk Hogan has hair. Bill Cosby's white. Michael Jackson's black. Demogorgons. It's strange. Strange times.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at here. So 84 really was a weird time. And Dorothy is running the store kind of full time, but she's also working almost full-time as a registered nurse as well at the New Lincoln Hospital, like we said. So she's very busy going back and forth, and she's got these teenagers, and she seems happy with it, though. That's just the way it is. One of the residents of town said anytime she wasn't working in the hospital, she was working in the store. Mm-hmm. So you could always know where to find her. She's also religious.
Oh.
She has on her refrigerator, she has a handwritten note of hers that says, quote, "I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me."
Jesus.
So that's her affirmation every day.
That's what Steph Curry has written on his basketball shoes.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Does he really?
And Under Armour tried to distance themselves from it because he only has a portion of it on the shoes now.
Jesus Christ. For the love of God.
Instead of saying "I can do all things through Christ," it just says "I can do all things."
Yeah,
they're like, what if we just skip those 2 words?
I love how they took a humble kind of a humble, almost
giving the
praise up
to somebody else
rather than that to be like, I'm the fucking best. Because from what I understand, I'm not a very religious man, but from what I understand, the teachings of Jesus were all about. Maybe just braggadocio. He was just going around being like, watch me do this. Pow.
Right.
Wine, motherfucker. What? I can do anything.
Well, your fucking arm fell off. Guess what? Not the other one, because you are healed.
Healed, motherfucker. Pass it on. Tell everybody about what a bad motherfucker Jesus, big swinging cock Christ is. That's right. You tell him.
I can do all things.
All things. Including lay some dick down on that good-looking wool you got next to you. What's happening, baby? What's up with you?
I can do all things. Signed, Steph Curry.
Fuck yeah.
the most religious man in the NBA, and he's got "I can do all things."
What's happening, Toots? How you doing?
It's like Under Armour doesn't know that people get it.
Have you heard? I don't know if anybody told you, but I can do all things. Kind of magic.
I mean, Steph Curry came into a meeting and was like, "I'd like to put just a quote from the Bible," and they were like, "You heard about how many people hate In-N-Out because of their shit?"
What if we make it really, really arrogant instead?
Right.
That's what if.
Aren't these your shoes? Not Jesus's shoes.
These are your
shoes.
shoes.
Steph Curry's.
You can do everything.
There's an SC.
I don't see Jesus on the court.
Is it
it's
Steph,
SC, not JC.
Right. Is it Steph Christ?
Yeah.
No.
WWSC. That's what we're trying to put out, motherfucker. SCD.
We're trying to move some shoes, not Bibles, bitch. How about
Come on,
that?
what the fuck? So, young David is having some problems in town here. Not with Jesus or anything like that, but he's having some problems, as a lot of teenage kids do, including myself and yourself and
boy, oh boy,
everybody else.
I'm fucking exhausted with these things.
Yeah. Oh God. No, I'm not talking about your kids. I'm talking about when you were a teenager.
Oh, okay.
I was fucking.
Well, that too.
I was a disaster. I was fucking. I was a menace, and I was all over the place, and my friends were all criminals, and that was my whole life. So, David's kind of having a similar thing, except countrified a little bit here. One guy says, quote, "I came here about 6 years ago, and my own personal observation was that the thing for kids to get involved in was alcohol. Now it seems to be moving toward drugs. I don't know whether it's a pervasive problem around here or not, but it certainly was in the life of David." So David, that's kind of part of it. As a teenager, first he starts drinking, gets real into weed and drinking at some point here. So that's kind of takes a path away from school and just kind of turns into a bit of a fuck up in general, as I've seen a million people do. So
I like to claim that weed does that to you, but
yeah,
it's like an enormous amount of people that do heroin have started with weed, but a very small amount of people.
They all started with milk, so what the fuck are we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
A very small amount of people that have done weed have tried
with
heroin. Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've never tried heroin.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with pills and powders, period. That's it.
But they all had bananas, too.
Yeah. My daughter's going to college, and I told her, no pills, no powders. Fucking, that's my advice to you.
Enjoy yourself.
Enjoy. Because, I mean, I'm not going to tell them, don't you dare have a drink, because they're going to college. Or, don't, God forbid, don't take a toke, because she's, especially where she's going, I'm not going to say, but it's a place, it's local, but it's known for
they like the parties.
They like some parties. So, yeah, but I am going to say that...
Anyway, be careful.
Be careful. No pills, no powders.
Damn it.
So they did say that the isolation of this town kind of helps this whole thing, because there is nothing to do for kids here. Like in this area, if you're a teenage kid, first of all, there aren't a lot of teenage kids. There's 225 kids from K through 12.
Right.
So there aren't a lot of kids to choose from. And then if you do find friends, what the fuck are you going to do? Right. Hang out at the store?
Create your own.
Find a mine to claim? I mean, there's really not a lot to do.
You got to make your own fun.
That's it. So they said there's no real social activities there. And so this guy says it makes me see why there could be a bigger problem in there. He says, quote, "Maybe it's because there are plenty of places for them to grow marijuana." And this is in 84, well before legality.
Right.
But Oregon in the forest has always been known as
Copperhead Road.
It's the Wild West out there. There's weed growing and nobody gives a shit. It's growing among other things, and it's we're not going to get involved in that.
It's all green from up here.
It's all green, man. So he said maybe it's the only entertainment that maybe that's why is going into the woods. Which is a thing. And if you come from a place where there's not a lot to do, hanging out in the woods is what you do.
Right.
Kids go sit in the woods because it's a place where their parents aren't, so they can drink and smoke.
Right. And where are the adults not?
Used to find, like, where I was from, like, we'd find, like, a patch of woods. There was this one patch of woods that was, like, between these two fucking, like, complexes of stores and all this shit. There's a little patch of woods. We sat in there like it was the fucking, like it was a national forest because it was a place where you couldn't see us in there and we could do what we wanted.
Exactly.
And there was a homeless guy that lived in there, and he was this older guy, and he was heavy set, and he would sit there naked, jerking off all the time. And you'd have to walk by him, and he'd look at you jerking off.
Howdy.
How's it going? going. He lived in his car, sort of. His car was parked out in front of the store.
Almost there.
And then he'd just be in the woods. And he wasn't jerking it for your benefit. You come in, he's already jerking. Like, you walk around the corner, he's already got a full stroke going.
I've been there.
Yeah. And he's got like all this, like, he had like an encampment set up. Right. And he'd just be sitting naked on a fucking, like an apple thing, like a milk crate. He'd be sitting there naked whacking it. And he'd just look over at you and then look away, but he'd be whacking it. And there wouldn't be like, oh, excuse me. It would be like,
if you're
I'm
offended,
busy.
You can leave.
Yeah.
I've been here.
I've been here and I'm staying.
You just showed up.
Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, he said going into the woods was the entertainment. He says, but quote, but just the school and the church are about the only organizations around here in a position to deal with things like that, and we can only do what we can. Mm-hmm. So there's really nothing to do for these kids. And David here, his teachers kind of talk about him, and they say he progressed in school just fine until he hit the 9th grade. And then they said his grades went right in the shitter, and his attitude was shitty, and he just turned into a different kid. Which sometimes is explainable in switching schools, and but they're in the same school.
Right.
Which is strange.
I'm so scared of that.
Yeah, kids turn into dicks.
My little guy's so easy to get along with.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to be a complete dick.
Yeah, well, he's going to be.
He will.
So, Richard Wisner here, it's old Dickie Wise. Mm-hmm. Dickie Wise taught the 7th, 8th, and 9th grades, so he taught Hart, David in all of these grades, and was his basketball coach as well when he was playing basketball in middle school. He said that David, quote, was not motivated a great deal about school, but at first he used to use what he calls his great sense of humor to help him make friends. And he called him a giving person. And he said that he started to do better in school and have a better attitude when he got help with a reading problem that he was having. So that also is an issue that kids have. Wisner, this guy, said that Hart's teachers called a joint meeting at one point, and in attendance were a bunch of teachers, David, and also Dorothy and Dwight. Dorothy, David, and Dwight were all there as well. So everybody's in this meeting. Dickie, Dorothy, David, and Dwight are all on hand here. They're all there. And he says at this meeting, Dorothy, quote, became mad about this because they were telling him, they basically sat him down and said, look, your kid's having problems. Right. His grades are in the shitter. We'd like to help. And, let's get a program going on. She instead said, quote, if there were any problems, they rested with the school.
Oh, no.
Just said, this is your bad. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
She's offended.
I don't know. Yeah, that's not the way to go about it at all. So they said that was about that. After that, they said that David was physically belligerent by that point. Like he was after the meeting, and when his mom showed no interest in helping, from what the teacher said, it got worse after that. He said his wife was an elementary school teacher, Dickie Wise. Yeah. His wife, Grace, was an elementary school teacher who Hart would be an aide. So they'd have the high school kids be aides for the elementary school since they're all in the same school. Sure. And they said that he was an aide there, and she described him as depressed and withdrawn lately doing that sort of shit. So she said that David was happy to see her when she would come into the Little Elk store because he would work there with his mom a lot and help out. And it's also downstairs, so it's kind of like their pantry.
It's tough to
avoid it. Yeah. So
you got to walk through it to leave.
Yeah.
You may as well just pick up a shift.
That's it. And everybody would go there. So the teacher would go there, that Grace Wiseland would go there to get groceries. And she said that Dorothy, who ran the store, made it clear that she did not want him speaking to me, which is very strange.
Oh, Dot's pissed.
Yeah, Dorothy doesn't want any fucking part of... Yeah. She's mad at the school, and she doesn't want him talking...
Dot knows Grace's husband is responsible for this insult.
Yeah, so now he ends up dropping out of school, but he's like 16 in the 9th grade. So, I mean, it's like... what are you doing?
You're going to graduate at 20 anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So I guess he, apparently they said his art teacher at one point said something that seemed to kind of make him go off the deep end and not want to be in school anymore. They couldn't figure out exactly what it is, but it's his art teacher that pissed him off, which is strange. And when they had that meeting, the Wisner guy said it seemed they didn't want to believe our ideas. Like they were telling him, look, this is what's going on with your son, and they were just like, nope. You're doing something wrong, so
the art
fix it.
teacher says his yellows are amazing.
Yeah, said he's great. So they ended up pulling David out of school. Yeah. The parents do. They pull David out of school in the 9th grade.
They force him to drop out.
He kind of gets forced to drop out, and they send him to Portland to live with relatives. because sending kids away from a small town to a city is usually the way to keep them out of trouble.
Yeah. Here's a fuck up. Let's give him many more opportunities.
He'll have a ton of opportunities now, which is fucking crazy. So, they said that he avoided school when he went there. He wouldn't go to school, and he had discipline problems there too, because he just got shunted off somewhere else. Nobody cares. So Dorothy said at that point that she commits David to a drug rehabilitation program in Eugene.
She's pretty sure that's the problem.
He's running the streets. He's acting like a fucking dipshit, whether it's in Eddyville or Portland. So he's going to Eugene to a drug rehab program, but he kept running away from it. It was a residential, inpatient treatment center, and he just would run away constantly. Hard to keep unless it's a prison environment, it's hard to keep a 17-year-old kid or 16-year-old kid that doesn't want to be there. Yeah. So, especially one like this, he would run away, and eventually, Dorothy just lets him come home, basically. Just says, all right, fine, just come home. You're going to keep running away anyway. Which, whatever.
That was a waste of effort.
That's a waste of effort. So, the state and county officials told her that she would have to pay to place him in another home or get counseling for him, and she said she couldn't afford it, and so that was that. So, tough shit. Another family member tried to help him, his half-brother, Kevin Hart. Not the Kevin Hart, but his half-brother, Kevin Hart.
Seems like he's done pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he could help him out a little. You're all picturing Kevin Hart, though, being like, hey, come here for a minute, man. Like, talking to him.
Looking up to him.
Doing a Fabletics commercial.
Right.
Come on, Kevin.
His big brother holding him at the knees.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Kevin Hart, non-comedian Kevin Hart, was a painter in Portland, and he's the one who took him in for 2 months. He takes David in for 2 months in the spring of '82.
Okay.
Kevin said he hoped that a change of environment would break him away from the drug-using crowd, because there's never drugs in Portland.
It's rare.
Yeah, it's not like Drugstore Cowboy is about fucking Portland or anything. Like, Portland's always been a pretty good center of drug activity. Like, for the last 50 years at least. It's definitely been known for that. Jesus.
The reason it was first.
Yeah,
they led the pack.
Yeah, like Portland is kind of junkie ground zero. Right. Like I'm like always has been. It was always like heroin users loved Portland. I don't know if it's because it's a calm. I don't know if it's the clouds.
The weather just kind of keeps you there.
It's a heroin-y kind of weather. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's really like if weather was heroin or heroin was weather, it would be Portland's weather, right?
They should call cloudy all day just smack.
Yeah,
it's going to be smack today.
It's smacky out right now.
It's smack in the air.
It's a little smacky. It's just junky out. It's interesting. So. Yeah, they said, though, his brother Kevin said, but he just found the same kind of crowd in Portland. I'd take him to school and let him out, and he'd just go behind the building and never go to class. I'd ask him about it, but I'm kind of young to be disciplining him. He was only 22, and he's his older brother. So he's like, I'd ask him, but he'd be like, no, I went to school. What's he going to do, beat the shit out of him?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a parent of a teenage kid. He's 22 years old.
It's not his responsibility anyway.
No, and you learn parenting skills as your kid's age. So if you're just thrown a teenager in your lap and you're 22 and you haven't built those skills up, you're just like, I don't know, he said he went to school.
That's why step parenting's tough.
It's hard. Right. That's exactly why it's hard, because you haven't
seen this shit.
You haven't seen it all happen in front of you.
You got to watch
seen
from
the development.
A to B.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So David at that point goes to live with his uncle, Larry Arnston. Right after that, Arnston said that he wanted David to stay for at least 4 months to see if him and his wife could help him. If you leave him here for 4 months, just give me a third of a year, I think we can fucking change this kid here. This is his family. This is his uncle. But they got a call from Dorothy Biggs 10 days after he got to their house asking that they send him back home. So that was that. They said they thought that David probably called her to complain because they were kind of strict and rigid and trying to change his whole lifestyle.
They've made me stop doing drugs, Mom.
Mom, it's fucked up, man. I can't even shoot up anymore. Not that he was shooting up.
I can't believe this. I'm sober.
That's so fucked up, man. Not even a couple of brews at the end of the day.
Nothing.
Like sitting around the dinner table, nothing. You
should smell my breath.
Not even a glass of wine, Ma. It's messed up. So anyway, he ends up going back to her, and she pleaded there. She said that they say that she begged the county sheriff's department and the health department to give her help, and they told her there was nothing that they could do while he was living with her. Basically, he'd have to be like abandoned, an orphan, for them to help. So she would have to pay to have him lodged in a home somewhere, and that was that, like we said before. And at this point, too, it's hard to discipline him. He's 5'11", he's about 240 pounds. He's a he looks, I'll show you his picture in a minute, but he looks like picture Chunk from Goonies, and just picture that kid, not that actual kid grown up, because I don't know what he ended up looking like, but picture Chunk if you imagined what he'd look like when he's 17. Okay. Exactly what this guy looks like. Exactly.
I'll bet he looked like a
Truffle Shuffle fucking Chunk.
A little bit older, still a mess.
Yeah. So now Sherry Biggs is David's stepsister-in-law, which is a lot. Figure that one out. Stepsister, I guess, married to his stepbrother. Okay, would be my guess.
All right,
right?
Yeah,
stepsister-in-law.
I could see that.
Yeah, you just tack in law onto whatever
she is.
Yeah, you act like they're related and then tack in law on it. That's how it works. Act like the married couple's related.
And know that they're not.
And then they're not. Yeah. So she said that she couldn't possibly have handled him and was afraid to have David in her home with her 2 children who were under the age of 3. Oh. She was afraid that he would be like violent. And she even said, quote, "The man's violent. He's got the strength of 2 men. What could I possibly do in the face of that?" Okay. The strength of 2 men.
That's not a compliment.
They made it sound like he's like a half horse or something.
Right. The strength of 2 men.
He's a mantar, and he's got the strength of 2 men.
I mean, 10 men.
It's not in a circus. Right. Yeah.
10 men's a compliment. Strength of 2 men. He's just a little bit stronger than my husband.
Yeah, he's just like Israel Eddy.
Right. He can pick up a disgruntled
Maybe
drunk.
We should feed him some piano polish and see what happens.
Listen.
Maybe it'll cure him of everything.
We might be changing the name of this town.
I'm telling you. So, Michelle Hart Dempsey, who is David's half-sister, this family is... Oh, it gets weirder, too. Wait till later when I tell you what's going on with the sisters.
There's too many step half... What the fuck?
Wait till you just wait. This We're setting this groundwork, and in a couple minutes, it's all just crashing into a big fucking pile of crazy.
But this is my family.
Yeah, a lot of people's. So Michelle Hart Dempsey, she's David's half-sister. She said that he had hit her repeatedly and threatened her small children with knives.
Oh, no.
With knives.
Yeah.
That's
menacing.
Well, I mean, it's also shit rolls downhill because someone was arrested for threatening him with a baseball bat and a knife in a position of authority. So you see things.
Right. Also, who did what to get him that mad? What happened? Is that just he's
little
watching
kids
TV?
Can be annoying. Let's be honest here. You hear the same cartoon over and over again. And you're like, motherfucker, I will cut you.
I told you to pick that toy up.
Yeah,
I've said it 10 times.
Who hasn't threatened?
Fucking times do I have to say it?
Who hasn't threatened to cut their kids?
Oh, listen.
So
in my head,
in your head, you're like,
I will fuck you up,
cut you.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So she said that his repeated boast that he was going to kill his mother stuck in everyone's minds as well, as he would say that, which is interesting. So the Alan Peterson, who's the county juvenile director, says that Hart stays in the juvenile shelter after his mother claimed that he was beyond control in late 1983, and that Hart eventually checked him into another program. So there's so many programs going on here. Now, Verna Buell is the principal of the school. And Verna Buell, she sounds hot. Yeah. Verna Buell sounds like a piece of ass right there, baby. Yeah.
I can't wait to see her mustache.
Was shaking, Verna. Yeah. Her skirt is all the way down to her ankles.
Oh,
boy.
my God.
It's dragging on the ground.
With those witch shoes.
Yeah.
The buckles and fat heels.
She's a mean lady, I feel like. Verna Buell. Yeah. Ms. Buell?
Right.
Ooh, no good. No good.
Lace around her neck.
She says, I think, Verna Buell.
Probably.
She says, quote, he transferred to Portland about 2 years ago, I believe it was, and he never came back to our school. He was a freshman then, and I think he was still a freshman when he got back.
Yeah.
So he never advanced at all.
And that was probably a dead-on impression of her.
I think I got it, yeah. I'd seen him on the road a couple of times since then and waved at him, but we never talked or anything like that. That's, I think, a better impression
Pretty
of her.
Close.
So there was 225 students at the time, and she said that Hart's attendance was, quote, not that regular. So he was absent a lot. He was brought into my office occasionally, and after a while I took a little more interest in him as a discipline problem. Well, if you took interest in him as a human being first, as a child, maybe.
Or as a project to fix.
Something.
Yeah.
But he's a discipline problem. Better pay attention now.
Right.
Quote, he was a little rowdy at times, but I was always able to handle him. Like a lot of kids.
Right.
A lot of kids are fucking rowdy. Now, another people here, Tammy Bradley, who was a classmate, recently talked about that he had the last couple weeks, she said about 3 weeks ago, this was in July of 1984, she said that David had been different. That he told his friend Larrick Cook, who is the student body president. Larrick.
He's so handsome.
This sounds like a big Nordic handsome guy who catches, they go fishing. It sounds like he pulls out just fucking 10-pound trout like nobody's business. Bare hands. Reaches it and grabs it.
Chiseled jawline.
Not even a spear, nothing. So Larrick is student body president, and it's weird that the student body president hangs out with, that's in a small town. They're the same age. So he hangs out with David, who normally they wouldn't hang out probably in this whole thing here. And apparently David had told Larrick that it was his mission to kick drugs and alcohol completely and he went and got his driver's learning permit, and he proudly showed everyone how proud he was of that, and he talked of returning to school. He said he was going to go back, and he was going to graduate, even if it meant going back as a freshman at age 17.
Right.
He's going to do it anyway. That's how determined he was to get his life back in order.
Back to School just came out, and he is impressed.
He's like, yeah, it's 86 it came out, but still, I'm going to do it. Now, July 1984, there's a fire. It is the fire in the house behind the store. Not the house they live in. There's a house on the property behind the store, also owned by his family. It's a 2-bedroom wooden house that is destroyed by fire in July, just engulfed in flames. And we'll talk more about that in a minute here, too. Now, the next month, though, August 3rd, 1984, Dorothy, who is always at the store or at the nursing home, apparently she's not at the store. And then they're looking for her for something, one of her relatives, and so they check the nursing home, and she's not there either. So some time goes by, and this is from the morning to like mid-afternoon, and it's a female family member. She starts to look for Dorothy because she hadn't been seen in a couple hours by anybody, and she just doesn't have unaccounted for time. She's always somewhere. And so otherwise, too, the store was closed, and people were asking questions, and, hey, where's Dorothy? I'm trying to buy some eggs and shit like that. You know, all that sort of shit here. So, anyway, this relative ends up looking through the store. She's not there. She goes upstairs into the apartment above the store where Dorothy lived with the kids, and she finds she's not there either. So nobody's home. So the relative then asked other family members who's seen Dorothy, what's she fucking doing, and everybody said that they hadn't seen her at all. So she finally was like, okay, let me check and see. She looks apparently behind the stores where Dorothy normally parks. So she's like, well, let me see if her car is here at least, you know, what's going on. And her car isn't there. She's like, all right, well, her car's not there. She's not here. Who the fuck knows what happened? She said she must have gone on an errand. She's always helping people out. Maybe she's like bringing groceries to somebody who's sick or something from the town, because that's something she would do if prompted. So they said, yeah, maybe that's what it is, you know, whatever. So they kind of relax a little bit. And apparently at that point, though, after a while, the afternoon goes by and she's still not heard from. And she's like, okay, she wouldn't leave the store unattended all day and not go to the nursing home, which is not what she does. So she ends up contacting the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department. Yeah. They can't find her for like 4 hours. Yeah. Please, everybody, if I'm missing for less than a week, don't call, don't look for me. I'm probably hiding. That's just the way it is.
If I'm not hiding, I'm already dead.
That's the other thing. I'm already dead. I'm not like a child or like a woman that there'd be a reason to keep me alive to do terrible things to me. If someone takes me, they're killing me immediately. Right. So I'm dead. Just leave it alone.
And on the off chance I am still alive, I might be enjoying myself. So stay the fuck away.
I'm either dead or hiding and loving it. One of the two. So leave me alone.
Or dead and loving it.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Yeah, I'm dead and I'm loving it. So there's a deputy, and they take down all the information, Dorothy's description. She's a heavy-set woman, and blah blah blah. The type of car that they thought she was driving, her car, and they said, yeah, we'll follow up, and basically we'll go, hey, tell the other cops around if you see Dorothy, fucking call it in, basically, and let us know what she's up to. So that's the afternoon of August 3rd. Now, the morning of August 4th, kind of middle of the night, actually, the early morning hours of August 4th, a car is found here. Now, it's a motorist driving along US 20 near Klein Hills Summit. It's a big fucking huge drop-off. And it's about 25 miles east of Newport and about 5 to 8 miles east of the store. Okay. They find a parked car near the top 15 feet from the edge of the embankment where it'll fucking drop off this huge cliff. Okay. 15 feet from there, it's there. And the way it's parked, it's unlikely. No one would stop there on purpose. Like, it's one of those. It's a dangerous spot to be in. You could slide off a fucking hill. So this motorist sees this car, and he says, well, maybe somebody needs help, or they blew out a tire. Or it's a bad place to be. Let me see if I can help them out.
At minimum, I should warn them, you're about to fall off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, one of the two here. Yeah, exactly. It's the middle of the night, too, so it looks like somebody might have went off the road in the middle of the night. Who knows? You want to, you stop if you're in a small place like that. Me, personally, I go, oh, Jesus, they're going to murder me if I stop. I'm not stopping anywhere. Everybody's going to kill you at 1 a.m. if they're a stranger. They're trying to lure you in to murder you.
They're either killing themselves or me. And I'm going to keep on going. And
I'm not going to be a witness either way.
Right.
I've seen way too much small-town murder that we've done and everything else. And people who just find things, they always are scrutinized. Always. The guy who fucking found Heyman Lee, they were like, oh, he's a pervert, this, that. All he had to do was not say a fucking... Obviously, that's terrible for the family and everything, but for that guy, he has nothing to do with any of this shit. It's not his daughter. He's not the murderer. He's not doing anything. And they're all talking about him jerking off in the woods and his fucking alcoholism and all this shit. He's like, I found a girl. I'm a hero.
The meter reader that found Kaylee Anthony. Same fucking thing, poor bastard.
That's what I mean. It always, whoever finds someone goes through it.
Why were you there, you fucking creep? What do you mean?
If I'm walking through the woods or the desert,
hero.
Fuck that. No. If I'm walking through the woods or the desert, my head is not on a swivel. I am looking straight ahead. I don't want to see shit going from anywhere. I didn't see it.
I don't want to have to come back out here for questioning.
Yeah, that's that's what I'm saying.
We almost ruined a poor woman's man's proposal, because he let her out. One of our listeners let his girlfriend. No, our listener is the girl, and her boyfriend let her out to the woods to like this nice little spot that he had laid out there.
Yeah.
And they're like walking out there. And she's like, I'm not going another step further. There are people out here that will fucking murder us. Let's go home. He finally convinced her enough to get her to spend the rest of her life with him. But that was almost cut very short.
But
anyway.
Almost no time in the woods, though, apparently. So, this guy stops. Now, it's a foggy night here. The man who found this scene, he describes as a foggy night. He says that inside the car is a woman, eyes are closed, radio on full blast, gas pedal weighted down. So the engine is at like 6,000 RPMs. I mean, it's if you fucking and your wheels are turning.
That's how I sleep.
So weighted down, and it is 15 feet shy of this embankment edge, But where it is, it's caught so the wheels aren't catching anything.
Got it.
It's up
they're
on like
spinning.
They're just spinning, but it's
Wow.
weighted down. And when this motorist walks up to the driver's side of the car to see what's going on, he says he could see that there is blood all over this person's face in the driver's seat. And so he stopped at that, obviously. And, he ended up calling this in to say there's something going on. Somebody's injured out here. It's off the US 20, like I said. Now, the deputies get the call, and the car description and everything else, and the description of the person in the car sound like Dorothy. Yeah. It's Dorothy's description. It's her car, and it's a heavy-set middle-aged woman in the car. So they're like, well, that's a bad sign.
Did he turn the car off, or did he just tell him, hurry up, man, those wheels are spinning?
They're spinning.
If it grabs, it's over.
I wouldn't fucking touch that car because I'm going with it. If I'm inside trying to take the weight off and it goes, I'm hanging with my feet out of the fucking door shooting off.
Hope it runs out of gas.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This falls heavily under the category of not my fucking problem here. And that's not to be a jerk, but I have a very New Yorker thing on the world is I didn't fucking see it.
I didn't do it.
You know what I mean? Like you mind your business. I'm Italian too. You mind your business. I was told forever, mind your own fucking business. Yeah. I was outside on an Easter one time and there was a drive-by down the street. My grandmother was out there and somebody tried to call the cops and she screamed at them. What the hell are you doing? You don't know. It's none of your business. She said, you don't know what they do. You don't know why these people do that. That's not your business. You know. Everybody went inside. Nobody fucking did anything. None of your business. You don't know if they deserved it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's how I was raised. Mind your fucking business, all right? None of your business.
Maybe if they minded their business, they were shot right now. Go inside.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. Maybe that's how they started.
Maybe they called the cops.
Exactly.
Go inside.
Either way, mind your own business. Look the other way. That's how you do things. Go back home. So anyway.
Bet they don't fuck with you.
Exactly. Nobody ever fucked with me. So, everything, the car, everything fits here. So Dorothy's general description, but of course they didn't want to, it could have been someone stole the car. They didn't know. So anyway, they didn't notify the family yet. They want a positive identification first here. So when they get there, the detectives note that there are traces of saliva and blood had trickled down from the corner of this woman's mouth. Mm-hmm. Her lips and cheeks were drained of color, and the face looked to have been battered. and very bloody. So it looks like this person has been through. Looks like this person went off the embankment in a car and then was put in another car and put up to the edge of the embankment. That's what it looks like. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
See if this car's safer.
Yeah. So the car is in pre-accident mode and she's in post-accident mode. So it's a very strange thing. They're like, did she predict the future? Or what the fuck is going on here?
Is there a DeLorean around here?
Yeah, what the shit? Maybe check behind the billboard. That was a trick I saw him do.
It's under bushes back there.
It's back there. Just check the barn. So don't be scared if he's in a spacesuit. He does that sometimes. So what they see is that her hands are bloodless and her fingers are white as shit.
She's been dead a while.
Yeah, but no blood on her hands, though, too, which is strange here. All victims, these are all signs that she'd been dead for a little while. She wasn't, brand new dead and things like that. But they said the weird thing was that her hands and arms were fastened under her seatbelt.
Yeah.
Not over it like you would to be able to reach the wheel. It would be like if you were pinning someone in. That's how it would be. So that's a strange thing that obviously nobody can drive like that, clearly, that she didn't put herself in that situation. And another very strange thing is what she's wearing. She's dressed in a pair of men's pants that don't fit her, first of all. They're badly fitting. And also a pair of men's shoes that don't fit her either. So it's a strange outfit for someone to leave the house in. Two things that aren't even yours, and two don't even fit you.
To go out driving with your knees.
Yeah, to go out knee driving. So they were like, they didn't know, does she normally wear male clothing? Is this something she does? Because, no judgments here. They just need to know if somebody did this to her, if this is what she does. They didn't think so because no one had ever talked to her. No one had ever heard that. And plus, if she was wearing men's clothes, she'd probably get men's clothes that fit at least. She wouldn't get shoes that are too big and pants that don't fit her. So it doesn't make any sense, basically. So they're like, why would someone put her in men's clothes? Is this some sort of sex crime? You know what I mean? Who knows? Because they must have put clothes on her. So who the fuck knows? Maybe she was undressed and they dressed her up real quick in clothes that didn't fit, shoved her in a car.
Thought whoever did this, because that's fucking what you just expect. You've seen too many movies, sir. Not all cars explode when they go down.
That's the other thing.
What are you doing? They're going to find her in this.
Yeah, probably. But also, they said her head looks battered and shit like that, which would be what would happen to you if you fell off a thing. But there's other things here. So, yeah, they're wondering, is this like an attempt to confuse people? Is this some nefarious serial killer? Like, what's going on here?
Confused as fuck.
That's what I'm saying here. They knew they would have to find some answers here, so they tried to do it. And they find out that she had, when they examine her body, that she had sustained a severe beating prior to death here. They didn't move the body at first, but they could see visually numbers of bruises, cuts, and abrasions all over. Anything where her clothes isn't covered, you can see
just a sustained beating.
Looks like she's been beaten bad. Her hair was matted with drying blood, which is terrible. Still sticky and everything else. So it's hasn't been there forever, a week or anything. The palms of her hands are blood-stained, but the backs aren't. So now there's no signs of an attempt to escape in here. There's no signs of resistance. There's not handprints all over everything. If she was conscious here, then you would have seen hand marks everywhere and her trying to get out of the car. Or
she probably wouldn't be under the seatbelt.
Something. That's the thing. Something. So they ended up, they search her pockets, which normally they'd wait for the medical examiner, but they searched the pockets to see if they could find ID so they could know if it's Dorothy or not here, since they were looking for it anyway. But they said when they got to her pockets hadn't been, basically the pockets were still in. No one robbed her, and she has no identification or anything or money or anything on her. So it's a very strange thing here of what the fuck's going on. So all sorts of people come from Lincoln County law enforcement agencies. They close off the area around the store where she worked and the house. They cordon everything off. Basically, everything from the car to the store is fucking blocked off. This is all a crime scene. 8 miles of highway and everything else, all a crime scene. this doesn't really happen here. So obviously, they said that they had got search warrants. They searched her car. They searched her residence, everything like that. What they would reveal to the press and everybody is the death did not occur where the car was found. Okay. She wasn't killed in the car. She wasn't like beaten in the car and then left in there. They said the death was related in some part to their investigation at the store. Oh. That's all they would tell the press. And so they said that, quote, it's my understanding from the police it did happen in the home is what they think, but they have nothing to verify it at that point. So
this takes like at least an Uber driver and the murderer.
That's what I mean.
How the fuck do you get a car out there?
That's the thing. So they're wondering, like, obviously they think this was meant to look like a traffic accident. Somebody beat her and then weighted down the thing and were like, she'll go right over that cliff. Yep. Boom, beating. It'll look bad. They'll say, oh, wow. Especially if she's all burned up and bruised. I mean, she went off the fucking thing. Who knows? Maybe she fell asleep at the wheel. Yeah. So, Bob Mobley, who's the owner of King Salvage Company, he said he's the tow guy, and he said that the car was idling there when he got there. Still, it was still on, but they had taken the fuel. They'd taken the gas pedal off there. They said though it would have went off into the trees and rocks another 15 feet here. So they do the autopsy, and the state medical examiner describes it thusly: there was bleeding on both sides of her head, and she suffered numerous other bruises, but it wasn't beating or bruises that killed her. He says, quote, the lady was strangled.
Oh, wow.
That's what they find out. They said she was probably strangled with a garment that was later found tied around her body, which they found. And the ligament left a ligature, the garment left a ligature furrow, a fucking mark, 1.5 inches wide on her neck.
That's a big one.
So she's definitely been strangled here. Mm-hmm. They did the autopsy, like I said. They think that medical examiner believes the beating was probably with fists and something consistent with a baseball bat, is what they think here. Fists, feet, and baseball bat is what they're thinking. And now later that morning, they're, trying to figure it out, what's going on here. And they said that they said she's very nice and giving. Yeah. So they're like, first thing is they ask around, has she let any transients in lately? Has she let any drifters in? Because you let somebody, a drifter that's in your house all the time, there's a good chance eventually one of them will bludgeon you to death to rob you. Who knows? So they said maybe that's what it is. And they said, everyone around said, nope, no one's been like that through town. She hasn't asked anybody to help for, charity for somebody lately, so they don't think that's what it is. So they talked to the locals. They figured out, has anybody stayed there at all lately? Maybe somebody stayed there a month ago and then, scoped the place out and came back or some shit like that. But they said through everyone in town, they said it's been months since she'd put anybody up. Mm-hmm. So that was unlikely, and they could find, no evidence of her helping anybody else. But they did find out from one of the relatives they talked to some interesting information about David Hart, the son, 17-year-old, that made them decide to pick him up and talk to him. And they find him walking along the highway shortly after daylight on August 4th.
Almost home.
Yep, literally is walking along the highway. Okay. Now, they also pick up his stepbrother, Troy Biggs, as well. They were both walking. It was 9 a.m. on a Saturday. And, they had found Dorothy 8 hours earlier. So they pick him up. And first they talk to Troy. Now, Troy has a story. Yeah. Troy says that he was in a bathroom hiding while he heard David beating his mother to death, is what he says. He says that he emerged 3 times from the bathroom to see if it was over, and it wasn't, so he went back into the bathroom.
Fucking Judas.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, doesn't help her and then tells on him. You're good for nobody. Either be down with the fucking murder or help a fucking person not be murdered. Pick one. What are you doing?
You don't get to be Switzerland and then narc on everybody.
Jackass. He did say that he also then helped carry his stepmother's body to the car. And he says that David told him that he would be next if he didn't help. So he said that David was subjected to a lot of abuse by his mother, but it wasn't a daily thing. It was mostly Dorothy that hit on him when he done something wrong. Mm-hmm. So the night that all this happened, Tyrone says that his stepmother was, quote, fairly drunk and had a pretty good buzz going, and also that David had been drinking as well.
Tyrone?
They had both been drinking. Tyrone, what did I say?
You just said Tyrone.
Did I?
You did.
Troy. It's a T name. I'm going to call him every T name now. So Thad,
what else did Terrence
came out?
Say?
Yeah, tell me all about it. So they said that David had been smoking. Tyrone.
Yeah.
No. Troy said that David had been smoking weed and drinking, and the stepmother was also drunk too.
Okay.
So they got into an argument, and that's how that went on here. So they talked to David. Now here is a picture of David.
Oh boy, here we go, David.
Who does he look like, Jimmy?
At you, Dave. Whoa, what the fuck?
It's Teen Chunk. Is it not fucking Teen Chunk,
James,
dude?
that guy is horrifying, though.
Yeah, Teen Chunk.
He is even... What is that shirt? Oh, is that just...
it's an open button down, it looks like.
Are those white things are not the collar?
No, that's just marks on the newspaper. It's from a newspaper archive.
Terrible-looking individual.
He looks like Chunk.
Yeah.
But 17.
Right.
That's exactly what he looks like.
A very pale one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Now, he tells 3 different stories to the cops. Tells all sorts of different stories. And then finally, he says, all right, tell you what. He says that his mother, his half-sister, and his stepbrother, Troy, had been playing cards in the game room at the store on the night of August 3rd when he began arguing with his mother. So family game night comes to a fucking head here.
I get it.
I understand.
Fuck that.
Yeah, you ever play Life? It's annoying. So anyway.
Or date game night? Fuck
that
too.
Shit. No, that's just a way for a couple to hate each other.
Absolutely.
So apparently David says that his mother made the statement, quote, "You're dead." And he said that he thought that she was going to kill him. That's what he said later on. But then he said they later went for a ride together, and he got out near Klein Mountain because he was sick and was left behind, and his mother drove away. So he's trying to say that his mother drove away, and because they just said, "We found your mother dead," they don't tell him the details. So he thinks his mother went off the fucking cliff. Yeah. So he says that, yeah, she dropped me off. I was sick, so I wanted to walk it, get some fresh air, and then she just took off over by Klein Mountain over there.
So she must have just, wow.
So, I don't know what happened.
I guess that's how she drove off the mountain.
Yeah. So then they go, no. We found it before it went off, and she's still dead. And they were, oh, boy.
What?
So he then said that basically what ended up happening, they got in an argument, and he shoved her down the stairs. That's how this started. At the house, yep. On the second story. He shoved her down the stairs is how it started. Once he shoved her down the stairs, he said he just kept going. Yeah. He was punching and kicking and hitting her with a baseball bat, beating her with a baseball bat. And David, this is on a recorded statement to the police, says, quote, "All she could say was, 'David, I love you, I love you.' I heard all that before," he says.
Jesus.
So he not buying it.
Yeah.
Not buying it. I'm going to keep beating you with a baseball bat. They said he had a wavering voice here, and he blamed his mother basically he said his mother blamed him for the stepfather leaving. Uh-huh. And since that happened, they've been fighting nonstop, basically, and she's been saying terrible things to him. She said that she came up the stairs to the second floor of the store. He and his stepbrother brother Troy had their bedrooms up there, and there was a television set and a stereo in their room at the top of the stairs. And David said that his mother came up to complain about the music being too loud, and he kicked her down the stairs and then beat her with his fists, his feet, and a baseball bat, and then strangled her.
Wow.
Yeah, he said...
all she said was turn the credence down.
That's it, man. Fuck, man. Turn down the Master of Puppets, for Christ's sake. I feel like that's what he'd be listening to.
I am so horrified that my kid's going to be a dick.
Well, yeah. Listen to what he says to the cop. He says, quote, this is on the recording, quote, "I came to," like he blacked out, he said, "I came to with my hands around her neck, and as she was taking her last 5 or 6 breaths, I just squeezed her off and killed her."
As you came to?
Yeah.
At the moment where you should be like, what the fuck am I doing?
He was like, well, better squeeze harder.
Right.
And he said he killed her.
There's already brain damage.
Yeah. He said that when he realized what he had done, he said that if he would have had a gun at the time, he would have blown quote, "I would have blown my brains out," or "I would have blew my brains out," he said, which of course he said it improperly. Obviously, he's not going to say it correctly. He added, quote, "I don't know what made me do it." He said that earlier in the evening, quote, she told me she was going to kill me that same night, and he complained that she called his girlfriend a name. Uh-huh. She said his girlfriend called her a name, that she wasn't there, but called her a name to him and would keep his friends away. Okay. So he then said, quote, I didn't love my mother. And
we know.
Yeah, he claims that his stepbrother Troy was asleep while this was going on, even though he knows he wasn't. He's trying to cover for Troy just because Troy knew about it, and Troy's like, oh, I peeked my head out of the bathroom. He was beating her ass, and he's not helping him at all, but he's trying to cover. He's trying to cover for Troy. He then said that he loaded him and Troy loaded Dorothy's body into the car, drove it to the top of Klein Mountain, planning to let it run off the highway. And basically the car ended up getting caught on a ditch and didn't make it to the highway, didn't make it into the ravine, found by a passing driver. He was pissed. And then they walked it back.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it ended up happening.
8 hours.
8 hours. Yeah, the whole thing.
What the fuck, man?
So his half-sister, Michelle, who was there, she says that that David and Troy talked about killing Dorothy while sitting in her home before returning to the store the night of the death. So she said they were talking about it ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And then more people come forward. Donald Hilton, who's a local guy who worked in the big store there, in the Little Elk store, he said that David frequently talked about committing acts of violence, and that after the fire, remember that fire? All right. David had offered Donald Hilton $10,000 to kill his mom. I don't know where he thinks he's getting $10,000 from. Yeah. We'll find out in a minute. But he's trying to get a hit put on his mom. Right. He said, and also other people that police talked to, he made similar offers to them. People who would come into the store, come in for a dozen eggs, and he's like, "I'll give you these for free if you kill my mom."
Y'all got peaches? You like peaches?
Tell you what.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
You,
Would you murder for one?
About a peachy murder. How does that sound? What do you think? Yeah, that's what people just coming into the store.
Wow.
Think about that shit. So he describes, this guy, the Donald Hilton, described Dorothy as, quote, a loving mother, and he said that her family was falling apart around her. She was trying to get it back together. Now, Michelle Dempsey said that a man came to the door of the mobile home, there's mobile homes on the property as well, that she was in, knocked on the door, and said that David had offered him $5,000 to kill Dorothy.
So where's she at?
And he then stayed the night on the property somewhere. So Michelle's like, yeah, she's not around. He's like, I'll wait. And he lays down. So Michelle went and warned her mother at that point. Hey, there's a guy. Is that guy sleeping outside? He's here to kill you. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to. Probably don't invite him in is what I'm getting at. Just if you're going to give him a sandwich, just toss it out to him. Don't invite him in the house.
Hey, Ma, we got to kick David out, and here's why.
Yeah, right? What the fuck? She said that she later heard them talking about killing Dorothy before it happened, but she didn't warn Dorothy about that because she'd heard similar talk before and never took it seriously. They get drunk, these kids, and spout off at the mouth, basically. Another guy, Delbert Prindle is his name. Oh boy, bastard. Jesus. He said he and two other boys went to the store. He's a younger guy too, named Delbert Prindle. Yes. Went to the store the night of Dorothy's death, and that David came out and said, "Get out of here, I just killed Dorothy," and then held his hands up and showed them there was blood all over them.
What the fuck?
This was like right when it was happening, right after it happened. So why would you do that? I mean, obviously, you're not really trying to cover your tracks at that point.
No.
So they decide they're going to go ahead and charge him with murder here. They said they charge him with aggravated murder. They're trying to say, the prosecution says this is a torture murder, basically, because of the baseball bat and all this sort of thing.
And the sustained beating.
And the defense is trying to say, he's snapped and he's a fucked up kid.
Heat of the moment, passion.
Heat of the moment, fucked up kid. Right. He's been abused his whole, we'll get into some of this shit here also. They charge him with murder. They also charge his cousin with, as well at first, but then he ends up, he's charged with hindering prosecution, the cousin, and then later on they'll charge him with something else here. So his attorney, though, David's attorney, asked the court to basically arraign him as a juvenile, not an adult. And so there's a thing going on whether he's going to be tried as an adult or not.
Yeah. But he's 17?
He's 17 here.
That's not good.
That's not great. So, they said, and also the prosecutor said the charge will probably change this week to aggravated murder. And that's for the beating and all that sort of shit here. So he's being held as a juvenile in jail at the moment without bail, but then they're going to figure it out. And they said that they'll probably figure it out within about 3 weeks how they're going to handle the whole thing. His cousin has a $10,000 bail. And so that's how that goes. Now, David pleads innocent to aggravated murder, obviously, and aggravated murder is punishable by a maximum of life in prison with a minimum of 20 years required before parole can be considered.
That's the maximum?
That's the maximum for aggravated murder there. First-degree manslaughter is punishable by a maximum of 20 years in prison and a $100,000 fine. Why not make it $1 trillion? Someone's been in prison for 20 years. Yeah. Where the fuck are they going to get $100,000 to pay that back? It's not going to happen.
It's never going back.
It's just not going to ever happen.
That's
so
like
why?
giving somebody a $100,000 credit card debt and being like, pay that off now.
Here we go.
It's never happening.
It's a 20 years in prison and a 100 trillion kajillion million jillion Google fine, just as much as you can.
Whenever you got it.
Whenever it's there. But if you don't have it soon, we'll put you back in jail. See, that's what we're going to do. So the reaction to the town is fucking everybody's shocked. Oh, yeah. People say she was a good friend of theirs and, helped them. And, the store is closed down after that.
Of course.
They have a big piece of butcher paper tacked to the wall saying it's closed till further notice, which sucks. It just looks like it's hastily
gummy
closed down. One guy here who they list in the paper as a, quote, community leader.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that? That could be anybody in a town with 215 people. Jesus, he could be the guy who caught the biggest fish last year. Right. Like, he's the community leader. Highest game of bowling, too, this guy. He did it. He bowled like a 258 last year. This guy's in fucking charge.
Tarek was busy, so we got this guy.
We got him.
Tarek's out there catching trout with his bare hands.
You know how it goes. Lark. Now, they say, quote, Dorothy was a kind of community person. Mm-hmm. We have quite the spectrum of people here. There's people whose families have been here from pioneer times, newer people that came here just to retire, people who commute to different jobs in Toledo and even Corvallis. People have come from the counterculture too. We all know each other. Everybody's friendly. Everybody is accepted as what we are. Generally speaking, those who have been here for some time are conservative, and those who have been coming lately are from the counterculture are not conservative. So anyway, another one's hospital colleague said that, quote, she was very caring. She was an excellent nurse. She had a lot of friends. If somebody needed help, she would help them. Well, that's nice. She also said, this death is a tragedy. It really tears me up because I know they were really trying to solve their problems through counseling. Okay. Now, what happened? Well, the Reverend in town at the Eddyville Community Church, he knows the answer. He knows. He said it's all the evils of drugs and alcohol.
Lost their way.
That's what happened. This is Reverend Franklin Haas of the Eddyville Community Church. Got to say his name because he's an idiot. So he says that, he says that he believed the use of drugs and alcohol was the central cause of events that led to the death here. He said that's all it was. He blames all of this. He says, quote, I'm just certain that if there hadn't been a drug problem, this wouldn't have happened. That's not helping any. He said that Dorothy helped David hard to, quote, whip his problems. He said that she had the boy committed to a residential treatment program for drug users last winter, but he ran away several times and finally dropped out. He said the program helped a great deal, but David didn't spend enough time there, so obviously. He said him and members of the congregation reached out to help the boy, too. One man befriended David and included him on fishing trips and outings. Another man, with church people.
You know what you need after that? A
shower
and a line and a fucking six-pack of beer.
I was going to say,
that'll push you right back into your problems.
Fuck, man.
Sitting around with this guy talking about, gee golly. Fuck you,
if
man.
If church people want to take me on a fishing trip, I assume someone's going to try to touch my butthole at some point, so I'm not going. Why do you want to be in the woods alone with me? No. So,
what you fishing with there?
I don't trust you there.
We'll see you worm.
Yeah. Nope. Nope, I keep my bait to myself. No night crawlers are going on here, my friend. Yeah. So another person they had who was a recovered alcoholic is the way they put it, also worked with David, trying to give him encouragement. This Haas guy said, he's the Reverend, he counseled the family, which included Dwight and Dorothy there, although Dorothy, once Dwight left, wouldn't have anything to do with the church because she's Catholic and that's a Christian church. So anyway, Dwight left the family, and he said he could no longer deal with David. Quote, this is a quote. He said the arguments with David had become so violent that he would have to leave before one of them was killed. That's what the stepfather said. God. So he said the problem was Dwight had no way to deal with David other than violence. And he, basically, and he also said that, he had no way to deal with him other than violence, and that he would have profited by a deeper religious life. That's why he couldn't bridge the gap, because he wasn't godly enough. He said,
didn't have any fear.
Yeah, he said before Dwight left, he and Dorothy took turns coming to church with David and the other remaining home to mind the store. He said they were trying to help David in that way. He also said that Dorothy fought her son's drug habits. He says, quote, there's a fear here that somebody who's involved in this sort of thing could do something to the rest of us who get involved. So, people are now scared to help anybody because they're just going to murder them. She said that a number of people here are feeling like they'd like to make war about this drug problem right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because that's what you get.
Right.
That's how that happened.
Right.
Some kid kills his mom,
right.
And then somebody goes in the paper, ramps it all up that it's all about drugs, and someone sits home and goes, "Oh my God, the goddamn drugs!"
The difference between this guy and your family is the fact he has a drug problem.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
That's it.
Not the fact that the dad pulls knives on people.
Yeah.
They beat the shit out of each other constantly, and Dorothy calls his girlfriend a whore. There's no respect. That's what it is.
Well,
you have fucking respect for each other.
Let's find out.
Shit keeps going happy.
Let's find out who David is.
Okay.
Let's find out what happened to fucking David. And that's exactly what it is. You hit the nail on the head. People in the community remembered him for the most part as a polite, friendly, eager to please person, is what they said. One of the mother who has kids in the school system there said, quote, he was kind of a sad kid. He overtalked, he overjoked, he wanted friends so badly. They said that, quote, staff spent a lot of time trying to get him to live up to his ability. In other words, he wasn't retarded. He wasn't a genius. It's the school in 1984. He wasn't a genius, but he was capable. He bottled things up quite a bit. He desperately wanted friends. He would try to buy friends with gum or candy. He was really wanting to be accepted. He was accepted, but cautiously. So, because he was new. Yeah. And when you're at a school where there's only 200 kids in the whole fucking school, K through 12, and you come in as a new kid, you're really new.
And you're a functioning idiot,
Yeah, you can't blend. There's no way to blend. You are every microscope. Everyone's staring at you. Right. What's your fucking deal?
What's your quirk that's going to make us like you, boy?
If you got one.
Right.
So
you got some Tootsie Rolls in your pocket?
Yeah. Fuck, I'll take one.
That'll make me friends with you.
Yeah. So another woman here is Ann Cook. That is Larrick Cook's mother. The student body president's mother.
Popular boy.
Now, Larrick had gone fishing with David the day before the murder. They went out fishing, and they said that day that David was happy-go-lucky, having a good time, was no problem. Now, Ann Cook said that David had come to her home in January 1982 with bruises all over his arms, and he had told her that he'd been abused and told to leave the house by his mother and stepfather. This is when he was 15. He said that Dorothy called him stupid, or she said that she had heard personally Dorothy call him stupid in her presence, and also complained about his drinking and drug use, which is a good thing to complain about for a 15-year-old. She said, though, quote, it was meant to be hurtful and to tear down his self-esteem. Then she says, Cook talks about this, about 2.5 years ago, he came over and asked if he could move in with their family, with the Cook family. He said he just couldn't handle it at home anymore. So she allowed him to stay overnight, and then ended up checking with the Lincoln County Children's Services officials to see what the next step would be.
Yeah. What's the legality here? Will I be arrested?
Am I kidnapping a child here? So they told her that he could not stay permanently with them or any other family unless his parents gave legal consent, and they weren't, obviously. So Larrick Cook and 2 other Eddyville students who knew Hart, they said they never saw him get angry with any of his friends. He liked to tell jokes and stories and play harmless pranks, such as, the salt shaker shaker lid shit and stuff like that. That's what he was into.
I fucking hate that.
So into 10-year-old pranks, basically. He's immature.
Yeah.
It sounds like, and that's hard for a kid if you're a couple years behind maturity-wise.
Yeah.
It's hard.
The cocksucker that does it in a restaurant, I hope you crash on your way home.
You can die in
I
a
hope
fire.
you hit a
Fuck
fucking
you.
tree, you jerk.
Yeah, and go off the cliff.
Right,
for real.
and now my fucking pizza's covered in red pepper
now
flakes.
It's ruined.
I've got to try to pull that shit off there.
Thank you.
You fucking dick.
Thank you. So he says normal stuff like that. But he also said that, this is the Larrick cook, the kid. He also said that Hart often spoke of wanting to kill his mother and that he would tell him that he shouldn't even talk about such things. Another one of his friends, Mark Gormley here, said that he'd heard the threat too, and he always heard the reason. He says, quote, he was always showing me lumps on his head that his mother had given him and said that was the reason he wanted to kill her. Okay. Gormley remembered Hart's mother here, Dorothy, as, quote, strict and suspicious, polite enough but not pleasant. All the time she looked kind of mad.
You know, a mom.
A mom. I was going to say, a mom of a fuck-up teenage kid.
That's doing it on her own.
Because she has resting bitch face doesn't mean that she should be murdered. That's, I mean, Jesus Christ.
The woman's got 2 jobs. She owns a business for Christ's
2 jobs,
sake.
a bunch of trailers, kids everywhere.
She's raising 2 boys. One of them's not even fucking
hers.
I mean,
nobody fucking helping. Yeah,
Jesus
you'd look a little.
Christ.
You wouldn't look so pleasant.
Pull your fucking weight.
But you maybe also would not have lumps on your head.
Right.
So a member of the community's non-denominational church also told the investigators that he first met David 4 years earlier during Christmas. He says, quote, the church was going around caroling and we stopped at the store.
Oh, boy.
David came out and wanted to join us. He didn't, though. The reason was that his mother was a Catholic and didn't feel that that was the thing for him to do. So, yeah. And they said, but later on, they came into the church and it was fine. But at the time, he wasn't allowed to go caroling with people.
I mean, it's the same celebration, but that's not the way we sing.
It's still Christmas.
Not
Who gives a shit?
In that song.
It's no, same fucking songs. Christians and Catholics sing this. Stupid.
Yeah.
That's the type of shit. Maybe if he went around singing Christmas carols, he wouldn't be so fucking angry all the time. You know, I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't want to do drugs as much. That's however long he's out singing carols, he's not drinking.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's a win.
Yeah.
Look at that as a fucking win.
Hitting anybody with a baseball bat.
Yeah. This person from the church also said they would attend church, quote, fairly regularly. Quote, I couldn't imagine David killing his mother. I can't fathom anybody around here doing that. So that's just around here.
Yeah.
So
get to imagine because it fucking happened.
The kids said that they knew that Hart was, smoking a little bit of weed. They say it's like a dozen kids out of the 100 kids from like the high school part that kind of use weed, baby. You know, maybe it's 10% of the kids in the high school. And the Larrick cook said, quote, everybody experiments with drugs because of peer pressure, but most people don't stick with it. But David did it to get away from the things that he couldn't get away from.
Hold on.
Which is fair.
Is this just weed?
This is just weed.
Get the fuck out of here.
Weed.
They're blaming.
No. He's not doing coke. He's not. Right. They're blaming this on, dudes drinking a 40 and smoking some weed. If anything, he didn't have enough weed. That's my thing.
You should have given him more.
He didn't have enough weed is the problem.
Right.
Otherwise, that would be... If you give someone enough weed, they will not kill anything. I promise you that. I swear to God. They'd be like, I don't know. She's a bitch, but tomorrow's better for this.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was the thing.
I don't think I've ever heard an entire town rally around if he hadn't smoked all that weed.
It was the pastor and a huge article in their paper, like fucking. This is what I'm saying. This is a small town murder.
That's why he left
fucking crazy.
all the treatment centers because he sat down.
This is stupid.
Somebody next to him with track marks talking about the horrible things he did to get heroin,
and he's
like, I smoke weed,
and they're like, it's going to be worse for you.
Right.
It's like, no, it's not. Now, the mother here, Ann Cook, Larrick's mom, said, quote, he was the only teenage boy I know who would run to open the door for you. As a mother, I think the one thing he most desperately needed was love. I'm not saying he didn't get it. I'm just saying he didn't get enough for David. Yeah. So that's fair. Now, his school teacher there, the wise Dickie Wise, he says, quote, to write David's actions as alcohol or drug-induced is a sham. Those substances may have played a part, but the belief that violence can solve problems played a greater part.
There There you go.
Thank you. He says,
damn it.
Quote, he wasn't born a murderer. He became one. He wasn't born violent. He had to learn how to be violent. Someone had to show him.
Right.
Yeah, that's how the shit works in the world here. Right. He said that Dickie Wise also said that he wished that when he was around David that he had possessed the professional counseling skills when he was close enough that maybe could have helped him when he was around him. And then he says, this is after he's been arrested for murder, quote, I'd just like to tell David I still have 24 worms in the refrigerator that he sold me, and someday I hope to go fishing with him again.
Oh, you're going to keep those alive?
I mean, there'll be new worms, I assume.
So.
He had those then, but we'll get new worms when we fish.
We're going to use their fucking carcasses. We're going to catch all the catfish.
There'll be fucking dust by then. Another female resident said, quote, I'm relieved he's out of Eddyville. He's not a safe boy to be around. I'm petrified he'll come back.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's like, Jesus Christ, man. So
the guy doesn't have a vendetta against society.
Well, they act like he's a vampire.
Right.
They act like it's the Lost Boys moving into fucking town. It's like, give me a goddamn break, for fuck's sake.
I hate this story. He's dangerous, but it's not towards a random person.
No, he's not going to do shit on the street.
He's got very focused rage.
Yeah, toward a very specific person here. So September 28th, 84, they go to court to see if he's an adult. So I love how this country is so, we have it set in stone. 18's an adult. You can vote at 18. You can buy you can buy fucking cigarettes. Not anymore. You can do whatever you can fucking do at 18. You can vote. You can join the army. You can do all this type of shit. But when you've murdered somebody, they have to go to court to see if you're under 18 or not.
We'll see how close you are to it.
Hey, I can solve all of your trials right now. You under 18? Yes.
Move along.
Not an adult. You over 18 when you did it? Yeah. You're an adult. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing?
When cigarettes were an 18 age, I couldn't walk in and be like, I've been smoking since I'm 16 and I'm addicted. I need cigarettes.
No.
My ID says that I'm 17.
But obviously, I'm an adult.
Obviously.
I'm an adult smoker. That didn't work at all.
Fuck out of here. Yeah. I'll lose my license.
Literally, the only thing that where you can fucking fudge ages on is
murder.
If you've murdered someone and we want to punish you worse. That's it. It's fucking silly. I really think that's silly.
Yeah.
The word adult in our country has a very specific definition.
Right.
And then we go in there and go, I don't know. They have things
16
where
maybe?
They have 11-year-olds they charge as an adult.
Absolutely.
I've never seen an 11-year-old who is anywhere near an adult. Have you?
Never seen one on a golf course bitching about his kids and his wife.
I've never seen one that's had a job or bills or knows anything beyond their room or house or anything else. You think an 11-year-old has consequences in their mind? Gee, I don't know. In 20 years, that's such a long way away. They don't fucking know. They're 11.
Let me call my son. He's 12, and we'll talk to him about his 401k.
Yeah.
And what he thinks about the investment future.
The fucking kid's 11. He believed Santa Claus was real like last year.
Right.
Which he is, kids. I'm just saying, but he believed in it. Some kids lose their belief. In case your kids are listening, we don't know. So
my son will call me and be like, "Can I spend $10 on Xbox?" And next time I'll be like, "You're an adult.
You're an adult. What are you, 12? Jesus Christ! If you killed me right now, you'd go to adult prison
forever.
So get a job, motherfucker. Click.
You'd have a new 40-year-old roommate.
How? It's going to find you very attractive. So they decide that he will stand trial as an adult.
Yeah.
They do call him an adult. His size isn't helping him in that matter.
No.
Someone standing before you that big.
Of course that guy's
if he looked like one of those little teenagers, they would have had a better chance here. He is being held in lieu of $300,000 bail.
That's how they do it, by weight.
By weight, that's what it is. Yeah, what is he, about 240? Yeah.
It's adult to me.
This fat fuck's an adult. Let's just say that. It's at $250,000 on the charge of murder and $50,000 on the charge of arson for the July 6th fire that destroyed the house in the yard.
Oh, they're getting him for that.
They're getting him for that, too, because he admitted he did it. So, yeah, they do that. They ruled that he should be tried as an adult, determining it was uncertain that he could be rehabilitated at a school for boys. A defense psychiatrist testified that the rehabilitation was possible, although he said Hart had the emotions of a 2 or 3-year-old and has trouble distinguishing right from wrong. I don't know about that. That seems a little far. Seems like a stretch here.
So they're saying that he's developmentally disabled.
Like extremely. Like
noticeably.
Doesn't know the difference between right and wrong is like pre-4 years old. That's just a 2 or 3-year-old. So that's a stretch.
It's throwing peas at the wall and shitting in your pants.
That's what I mean. Whether it's real or not or true or not, it's hard to look at someone who's a full-grown 240-pound adult and go, he's like a 2-year-old. Like, no, even though he might be in the brain. That's people see things. So They said they did argue earlier, though, the prosecutor argues that he showed enough sophistication to try to cover up his crimes by putting clothes on his mother's body, transporting it from the murder scene, and then going back and cleaning up all the blood in the apartment before anybody came over. Because when their friend came over or the relative came over to look for her, she didn't notice all blood everywhere. They had cleaned it up already.
Unreal.
Troy helped clean it up. That was Troy's role in this whole thing.
Dick.
So, and he also cleaned the blood off the baseball bat and all that shit, put it back where it was. Jury selection comes around here. And weird thing, Branford and Euless Stapleton, Lincoln County District Attorney here, okay? Lincoln County District Attorney asked potential jurors about the happiness of their childhood. Whether they had a happy childhood or not, which does not have any. Ask the jurors that, because I guess if you were mad at your parents, do you hold maybe a grudge, and then you'll think, oh, maybe it's good he killed him.
Maybe she was auditioning for an open mic. She was cutting the fucking losers.
That's all it is. So
how's your childhood? You're not funny.
You're not. Get the fuck out of here. They asked potential jurors about that, whether they had been victims of any traumatic experiences and whether they would be swayed for or against either side by graphic photographs of a dead body, basically. Took all day to choose jury, 10 women and 2 men here. The jury is going to begin soon here. So, October 84, the store is reopening. Yeah. Who's reopening it? This is the weirdest part of the whole fucking story.
Troy?
No. This story I'm about to tell you quickly is the strangest thing out of all of this, okay? People who are opening it are Michelle Dempsey. Yeah. Remember that name? That's her daughter, Dorothy's daughter, Michelle Dempsey.
And the real chunk.
And the real, no.
Okay.
And Deborah Dempsey. Now, you would think that would be her sister, right? No, not her sister. Same last name, though. Want to know why?
Are they married?
No, they're not. Let's do it here. Okay, now, the 2 women, Michelle and Deborah Dempsey, and Deborah Krall, who's another woman who's going to help run the store now. Michelle Dempsey has 2 children. Deborah has 3 children. Krall and the 2 Dempseys opened the store that week. It had been closed since Dorothy's dead, obviously. Now, Michelle is Dorothy's daughter, okay, Dempsey, and David Hart's half-sister. She was sleeping in her trailer when all of this happened. Michelle and Deborah are not related. Michelle and Deborah Dempsey are not related. What they was married to the same man.
Oh, get the fuck out of my life.
David Dempsey. Oh, by the way, at the same time.
What?
Oh, by the way, they didn't know about it.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
And they're both divorced him? Or that one's still with him? They're both still with him.
Listen to this shit. He fathered all of the children in the 2 marriages there. Fathered all the children with a range of fucking 2 years old to 10 years old, 5 different kids. And Deborah Krall was once Deborah Dempsey's roommate. That's where she comes into this. But Michelle Dempsey and Deborah Dempsey didn't fucking know each other existed until 1983, December of 1983, when both of their husband there, committed suicide. He committed suicide while he was with Michelle in Richmond, California, and Deborah Dempsey said that this guy abandoned her 5 years earlier but never obtained a divorce. That's because he committed suicide. So she was living in Portland when that happened.
She didn't even know.
She didn't know. They were not aware of each other, and they couldn't believe that they were married to a fucking bigamist, apparently. They had the same last name. So what do? They decide to go into business together. What the fuck? So Michelle says, quote, I saw pictures of Deborah in his wallet. He said it was his sister. For 5 years, I led a perfectly con life. He had pictures of both the women in his wallet and would just tell the one that the other one was his sister.
Did he end it because he's like, I can't do it anymore?
Imagine the stress of that.
This is unbelievable.
How do you keep those plates spinning? Marriages and kids? This is fucking crazy. For 5 years he did this.
That is more unbelievable than a son killing his own mother.
That's what I mean. I said, this is the craziest part of the whole fucking story. This is insane.
How did that happen?
So I led a perfectly con life, and she said she telephoned Deborah Dempsey, who she thought was his sister, after the suicide, and they ended up liking each other and feeling like sisters once they got to know each other.
I mean, kind of legal it is.
I mean, sort of. Yeah, we could move to Utah and we'd be sisters. It's fine. So Michelle returned to Eddyville, where she was living where her mother was killed, and she first said she didn't want the store, but then she thought about her mother's, how her mother loved it, and she liked to provide for the children and make it a community center, so she decided to reopen it.
As an added fuck you, they both keep his last name.
They both keep his last name. I was reading this. I read this article 12 times because I'm like, is this what? Did they just say that they didn't know of each other? But then what the fuck is happening?
All the kids are brothers and sisters.
They are. Yeah. This is a fucking trip, dude. They're just running around. And then Michelle said that she didn't want to open the store at first because when she moved back, her children were suffering cruel abuse from other children because of the murder. They were picking on them. Yeah. So,
and your family's fucking weird.
Then she said it was Deborah Dempsey and her 3 children, who are sort of yours as well in a weird way. Kind of. They were the ones provided the support, so they decided to open a business together, which I don't know if there's ever been that situation in the history of the United States.
Can you sue her for child support?
Right? Has there ever been a situation where a man married 2 women without them knowing about it, kept it secret for years, told them they were sisters, blah, blah, blah. He dies. They find out about each other and then open a business together. That's a Lifetime show.
Right.
That's like a Lifetime movie or like a Hulu show.
Or 2 women on Shark Tank in 2007 with their cupcake shop.
No, that's a Netflix original show is what that is. That's totally a Netflix original show. And they're going to run a little store and there's weed involved. So to make it like,
Directed
they're going to
by Adam Sandler.
Dude. Totally. No. It's an all woman.
Yeah.
It's a woman director, woman product. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no penises allowed anywhere near this production whatsoever. But that's fine. This is a
Amy Schumer Productions.
Yeah, this is we want it to be good. So let's not do that. Let's give it back to Kristen Wiig or Latina Faye do it or something or somebody like that. So anyway, December 1984 is the arson trial. This is the arson charge was filed on him when they arrested him because he admitted it. He says that his mother told him to burn it down.
Really?
He said he did it at the direction of his mother, and his mother promised him half of the insurance proceeds if he did it. That half would be $5,000 because it's a $10,000 policy on there.
And she didn't give it, therefore, $5,000 to a homeless guy to kill Ma.
Exactly. Wow. I'll give you half of her. My take. So by mid-December there, he's convicted of first-degree arson there, and so there's that. They're going to hold off sentencing and do it all at once if they convict him of the murder as well. So 1985 in January, Troy Biggs is placed on 5 years probation for hindering prosecution. That's all he gets.
5 years?
5 years probation.
For moving a body into a car.
And then cleaning up a murder scene.
Wow.
Knowing it was going on, doing nothing to try to stop it, and then doing that. He had access to a phone.
Yeah.
He could have called the cops if obviously that'd be a weird thing to do, but
does he testify against him? Is that a plea bargain? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's a sweetheart deal for that. It's for hindering prosecution, and district judge also ordered him to pay $585. Wow. Do 200 hours of community service. Don't put community service on a murder thing because you couldn't give... There's no amount of community service that would be enough community service for this, so don't fucking do it. Just make it not.
Why even bother?
And also to work toward a GED certificate is the other thing that he's got to do. It
sounds like his dad made up the fucking punishment.
That's what I mean. It sounds like if he does all this, he'll get a new car.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Jesus.
So he testifies again that he helped Hart later on in his thing. He testifies he helped her move the body and clean up blood after she was beaten and strangled to death. His lawyer, Biggs's lawyer, Tim Armbruster, he said Biggs allowed Hart to intimidate him. He said, quote, Troy Biggs is a sheep in a lot of respects. It's his own lawyer that said that. The prosecutor, Huckleberry, said the judge said, I'm sorry, the judge's name is Huckleberry, by the way. He'll be your Huckleberry. He said he would have sentenced Briggs to prison if the state had not recommended leniency because Biggs helped in the murder investigation. So he would have gotten to prison, rightfully. So then finally this murder trial comes up here. Okay, we'll get this going quick here. Murder trial comes along. They do the jury selection, like I said. They're trying to say, defense says he's an extremely emotionally disturbed teenager who has all these problems and was abused and everything like that. Prosecution is saying it is aggravated murder. It was a torture killing of his own mother. They couldn't have more opposite prisms on the crime, basically here. The defense wants manslaughter charges for it, and the prosecution wants murder fucking one, basically. So Hart's lawyer contends he should be found guilty of manslaughter because of the emotional distress. He said that they open up the trial by they questioned teachers, and Ann Cook comes in. Basically, everything that we told you, those people testify in court to all that shit. So he's described by the school counselor as being in court as, and again, not my fucking words, but they're trying to do it. They call him, quote, an academically retarded youth.
Me too.
Yeah, no shit. I was terrible.
Yeah.
And that I don't think is in the medical term. I think that's like to retard spoilage or something like that, to slow down something is what it was. Academically slowed youth. I think that's the term they were trying to use there. So anyway, they said that he was, but also said he had a reservoir of rage that he can't control when he's under stress or influenced by drugs or alcohol. They also said they heard that his parents punished him too hard, too often, and he never got any recognition for things that were good. A lot of people get, I mean, Jesus Christ. Fuck, man. I don't think like my grandmother ever gave any of her daughters a compliment ever.
Yeah.
But if one of them walks in with 5 extra pounds to this day, she'll be like, "Why are you so fat?" Yeah. Like, it's just, swear to God. Also, why are you so fat right now?
Point me out a 17-year-old that doesn't have a quote-unquote reservoir of rage.
Oh, God.
We're all furious.
We don't know why.
At 17, we're pissed.
We're horny. We're angry. Yeah. We're fucking, we want more than we can get.
I want to jerk off, and there's always somebody around.
Yeah, I want to stick it near somebody and there's no one around. So
I want to not have to jerk off.
Yeah,
but there's
I do.
Always somebody around, and I can't just get this out.
Anything. So Dr. George Kajer, he's a psychiatrist who examined Hart right after the killings and again before the court proceedings here. He said that he was suffering from extreme emotional disturbance when he killed his mother. He said that Hart may be manic depressive, bipolar nowadays, and was given medication for that condition while in jail, which he's still using. This doctor also said he did not believe Hart tortured his mother, even after they showed photos of the autopsy where she's covered in lumps and bruises. And this was like my whole life I've been angry, and I'm going to take it all out at once on this thing.
Right now.
On this person in front of me. And I meant thing as far as a project, not a person. He did like, kind of like on The Wire when Chris kills fucking, Chris Partlow kills Michael's stepfather, who used to molest Michael, is what they allude to when he was a kid. Yeah. And apparently that shit happened to Chris too, because he just beats him to fucking death in the street. And I mean, fuck, it's one of the wildest beatings I've ever seen on screen. He just wails on this dude's face with his fucking fists until it's just
it's nothing,
and he's covered in sweat and blood and crazy shit. It's nuts. Snoop pulls him off of him, and she's crazy, so that tells you something. So, they said he interviewed Hart shortly after the arrest, and another doctor here, Sukow, also said that Hart had no unusual reason for killing his mother on that particular night, although his mother was reportedly nagging him just before he kicked her down the stairs. But nagging wasn't unusual. They also said Hart's attempt to dispose of his mother's body by putting it in her car and driving it off a cliff was inept but planned. This is the prosecutor's psychiatrist. And they said that her, corpse being beaten up so bad is obviously showing his progression through this thing here. He said that another psychiatrist said they gave David a personality test, and the court said it would need more tests to develop a detailed view of what appears to be severe psychological problems. This doctor said that Hart is confused about what appropriate behavior is because he was severely punished at home for errant behavior. He describes Hart as an immature person who sees the world in very simple terms. Okay. Also says that he has a very calm exterior, hiding a great reservoir of anger. They love the reservoir shit here.
It's a great garage band.
It's good. Reservoir of Anger. Yeah, that's an unreleased 80s fucking Metallica song. That's what he was listening to there. So anyway, our album. Prosecutor here, Judy Newman, said that Hart is more sophisticated than he seems, that he tried to cover up the crime by putting clothes on his mother and obviously hide everything like that. So in the closing statement, the defense attorney says that David tried to kill his mother quickly. That was what he wanted to do, but it didn't work. And then once you're halfway into it, there's really nothing else you can do but go all out. Yeah. So the prosecutor said that Hart tortured his mother instead with numerous kicks, blows to the hands and head with the baseball bat before strangling her to death. he says, as far as torture goes, quote, it's not the rack, but it's just as powerful. Well, that could be any murder then. Yeah. Literally any murder could be considered. It's all outside of the realm of necessary. Yeah. I mean, so, but the defense insisted that David was emotionally disturbed because of his chaotic family life, which included numerous beatings by his stepfather, constant belittlement by his mother, and also said that it was set off that night when his mother told him that everybody would be better off if he were dead. Troy said that she said that too, and so did the sister. Everybody admitted that she told her son, everybody'd be better off if you were just dead.
Oh, my God.
And then a little while later, he killed her. So, yeah, this is tough here.
By the way, your girlfriend's a whore.
And she's a whore.
Right.
A whore. She's the only girl goodly enough to have sex with you.
Right.
And she's a whore. So, the jury for the verdict here, this was a 1-week trial. And after 4.5 hours of deliberation, they find him guilty of murder. Now, it's a compromise, the guilty verdict. It is in between aggravated murder and first-degree manslaughter. It's just regular murder. Okay. That's what they get him on here. So they go, yeah, we'll split the difference is what the jury does. Mm-hmm. So they did 4.5 hours deliberation, like I said. Aggravated murder would have been punishable by a 30-year minimum life sentence, 30 years before parole, and manslaughter is a little bit different here. Now, January 29th, 1985 is his sentencing, and this is for our murder and arson. This is for both here.
Put them together.
This is 12 days before his 18th birthday.
Oh, boy.
So that's a bad birthday present here. Sentencing is, you, sir, may fuck off. It's 5 years for arson.
Yeah.
That's going to be tacked on to whatever the murder charge is, and life for murder.
Oh, boy. So
they give him life, which... That's rough for a 17-year-old. Yeah. That's tough to hear. So it gets somehow worse for David. So I looked it up, and I'm like, that is 35 years ago. Mm-hmm. And even at aggravated murder, 30 is as much as you'd have to serve before parole. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, he's probably out by now.
Should be.
I looked, he's not.
What?
He's still in prison. Listen to this. May 29th, 2020, a few months ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Right.
It's in the media here. David has COVID in jail.
Oh no!
Yeah, he tested positive for COVID-19, and they're doing a federal investigation into the prison system with it. He testified before a federal judge saying that state prisons have been slow to respond to the pandemic. He's in the Oregon State Penitentiary for murder and arson, and he described a burning in his lungs and 6.5 hours of coughing before he finally was prescribed an anti-inflammatory medication. And he said, quote, they told us we'd be treated humanely. And he said, that's not the case. And he said that, and he was coughing all through his testimony too here. They
just spreading it.
And if it gets worse, this is even worse too. If you're sick, this is why it spreads so bad in jail. If you're sick, you admit it, they put you in the hole.
Oh,
they don't have a medical center for you. They put you in the hole like you just stabbed somebody.
Right.
So you get put in the worst possible place. So that's your punishment for being sick, is to be put in punishment.
Right.
So no one wants to admit they're sick. They're like, fuck it, I'll give it to everybody, but at least I'm not going to the fucking hole.
Right.
So that's what it is. So now he's stuck in the hole.
Oh, God.
There, and he's one of 7 at-risk inmates who filed a class action lawsuit against the Oregon Department of Corrections and the governor. The inmates are at 4 different prisons, and because of their age or medical condition, because he's a heavy-set guy, they are at higher risk of contracting the virus. He tested positive on May 15th, and 2 weeks after that, nurses told him, quote, not to worry, his dry cough was just allergies.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck off, they told him.
Oh, my God.
This is, by the way, you can't get any more coincidental. I did not know the end of this when I picked this case out, so I look it all up. Not only does he have COVID right now, which is highly relevant, he's gotten through the parole process. He is set to be released Monday. Monday.
The next week.
Next week. August 11th, 2020, he'll be released from prison.
Unleashing that COVID nightmare into the world.
Well, that was May. Hopefully he's recovered by now. But yeah, what are the fucking odds that we would pick a case from 36 years ago that no one's ever heard? This isn't it. Look it up. There's not a lot of information on this case. I have to go in newspaper archives to find all this shit. Imagine that we found
about to get out in 4 days.
All of that to find somebody who's going to be released in 4 fucking days. What are the odds of that? Honestly,
that's amazing.
It's fucking incredible. As I said, this episode is meant to be.
Yeah.
It'll either be one of our best or it'll get us in horrible trouble somehow. Someone will get offended by something and, there'll be a petition. I don't know. Either way, that's that. And it's fucking bonkers.
What a story.
Yeah, that's Eddyville, Oregon. And, I didn't think it could get crazier past the point of Eddie coming in talking about piano polish.
It didn't stop.
Between the unknowing sister wives,
that's ridiculous,
and this and the COVID and him getting out and the whole, it's fucking crazy.
He's about to get out in 4 days with a class action lawsuit pending.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll get a few bucks out of it.
I hope he gets $5,000.
Anyway, when he does get out and get a phone, if he happens to get into podcasts, he's going to go, Jesus Christ. Because there's really nobody's talked about this case at all. There's no other podcasts that have done this case, as a lot of people oftentimes ask us to do like well-known cases, and it's fun to do well-known cases, but we don't do cases that other big podcasts have done.
That's the goal.
Like if it's a podcast we've heard of all the time, if it's one of you guys know all the different true crime podcasts. If one of them have done it, then we don't like to do it. No. I don't know. It just feels like it's hacky. We're comics. Right. I mean, sometimes we will, because sometimes if it's like somebody did it, but they only had a 45-minute episode, obviously we're going to get deeper into it.
They didn't find all the good stuff.
That's what I mean. So we've done it a few times, but generally I try to find the deep cuts. I'm trying to find the B-sides and the gems that are gems are murders, but interesting stories that nobody fucking knows about. No one's talked about this guy in 30 years, I'm sure. And so, whatever. Either way. So that's the show. Yeah. There it is. If you like that show, I know how you can tell us. Apple Podcasts, damn it. The purple icon. Get on there. Give us 5 stars. It helps a lot. We don't know why. No fucking clue. Say whatever you want. Say you're following instructions. You're following directions. It doesn't matter, really. You can say anything. Tell me what your favorite sandwich is. Yeah. I'll be fine with that. I like a Reuben. I'll be like, terrific. Look at you. That
good
sounds
luck,
gross.
David.
But
write that.
Yeah. Good luck, David, or fuck David. I don't know. Either way, whatever your opinions are, it doesn't matter. Just do it. It just helps a lot to write something on there. You can do that, or head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder related. Listen to crime and sports, by the way, because it's there's some wild shit going on over there.
Turning out to be something great.
It is wild. We're on quite the run lately. So you really check out any of the last 10 episodes, and then you'll want to go back in the archives because we have a really good time over there. Check that out. Do with that and fucking listen and all of your shit there.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do there. Also, you can get all your merch there. Tons of merchandise, all sorts of new stuff. Sarah's putting up new stuff all the time. So check all that out. I know there's new masks and stuff. So
that's great.
Check on that and do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can do that very easily. We are at Murder Small on Twitter and Small Town Pod on Facebook and at Small Town Murder on Instagram.
Right.
If you want to send us a voicemail that we can listen to, you can do that, 602-759-0606. And also, if you have use the crimeandsports@gmail.com is our email address. You can send, if you have case suggestions, send them there because people tweet them at me and stuff. And I want to put them all in a list so I have them and I can look into them, but I can't do it from Twitter.
Right.
I need one location. So if you do that, if you want to do that or have cases, please do that and I'll...
I don't research shit, so send it there.
I'll take a look at them, but yeah, do that. And if you want to be a bigger hero to the show, and if you want to do something good for yourself as well, have tons of bonus material to listen to, and there's a lot. We're doing our 18th this week. We're doing our 18th small town murder bonus of the year, and we have a dozen crime and sports ones, and then more than 25 from last year.
Right.
And with the $5 level on Patreon, you get access to all of that, everything, whole back catalog. And this week's episode is one of the 10 craziest people we've had on small town murder. The guy is nuts, and it happened recently, so he was on social media saying crazy things.
Terrific.
It is fucking gross and wild. So if you want to hear that story, please get on Patreon. It's patreon.com/crimeinsports. Like I said, above the $5 level, get you access to all of that, and Jimmy will fuck your name up. You cannot get a better value than that for $5 a month. You're going to get bonus episodes and your name destroyed. Think about that shit. And look at it this way.
Yeah.
You're also getting 20 hours a month of free for the free stuff. So you just look at it as, I'd give those guys $5 anyway, just for all that content. And then you know what? We're going to give you tons of bonus stuff too. So either way, sign up, patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can also just give us a few bucks on PayPal if you're wanting good karma.
Yeah.
Maybe you just want your name mispronounced. Right. You can do that. It's PayPal. Use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. Very easy to do. And thank you guys.
I'm told that it works about as well keeping COVID away as hydrochloroquine.
I think it does. Yeah. I think if you make that's a weird thing though.
If you make $1 to us or drink that shit, same thing.
If you make a Patreon donation, I believe it actually. I think it's an immuno booster as well. I think it'll
something like that.
It'll do something for your system. I don't know. No, it won't do anything for you, but it will bring you laughter, which does boost your immune system.
Yes.
So you know what? Technically,
endorphins.
We will keep you safe from COVID just by a donation to our Patreon. That was disgusting the way we did that.
Vile. I feel like Jim Baker.
Don't do that. Don't do it for that reason at all. Just if you like our shit, give us some money. If not, keep it. Fuck it. Yeah. And we're going to work on trying to do something else too. Not a live episode per se, like something streaming, but something that we can do live so you can see visuals. And we're working on it. So
with you in mind, and no.
We want it to be good.
We don't, right.
Yeah, we don't want to rob anybody.
We want to put something up that's worth it, and it's also not worth your time.
And I want to say thank you to people who will send us ideas. They'll be like, hey, I saw this comedian's doing this, and this comedian's doing like a drive-in thing, and this comedian's doing that. Thank you guys for having enough interest in it to send us our stuff.
Right.
But I do have to tell you guys, we all have the same agents. So if they have it that's been suggested and turned down to us, or it's not right for us and they haven't suggested it, so we all have the same ideas.
There's plenty of reasons.
There's no secrets.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's no secrets in comedy whatsoever. But thank you for doing it. I'm not saying, hey, fuck you, leave me alone. That's not at all what we're saying. Just you don't have to. We know about it. It's ridiculous. The business sucks. So
it's brutal.
It is what it is. So thank you guys though for giving two shits about us and
awesome.
Notifying us of things. You guys are so fucking nice to us. You are. You're so fucking nice to us.
So undeserved.
It's so undeserved. But you know what? We try. Yeah. I think since they're so nice to us, Jimmy, I think let's praise them and let's give them the list of the people who are so fucking nice to us right now. Edge it right up to the edge of the cliff, Jimmy. Let's do it.
This week's executive producers are Hannah Roy or Hannah Waugh. I don't know if she's related
French.
To
the goalie, Patrick.
Joshua Garcia, Mackie.
Roy.
Sorry. It's such a good movie.
It's so great.
It's such a dumb movie.
Yeah.
It was when movies were fucking clever and creative.
And even if they were dumb.
Mackie Daly, Clay Thorson, who, by the way, you're a fucking hero, Clay.
Thank you, Clay. So much. What a fuck, man. Clay is our star of the week.
So thoughtful and sweet. Thank you for giving
Clay is our producer of the week, by far. Thank you, Clay. You're a great guy. We appreciate the fuck out of you.
Jennifer Jansen, Dylan Stafford, Chrissy-Ann Castaldi again, thank you. Belinda Reed, she lives in Australia and wants to donate tickets when shows get back on the road to people that are in the States. Jennifer Foltz, stay the course, young lady. Keep it clean. Jackie Sukup, Jordan Bennett, German or Herman Turner. This show is brought to you by the letter J.
Sweet.
Jenny Leinen, Jen Freeman, Jenny with no last name, Nikki with no last name, Tommy Pinamonti, Blake with no last name, Sarah White, Eric Moore, Silky B, Frankie Brim, Craig, Kemp, Callie Waldock or Waldotch, Lauren McEater. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
McIntyre. You guys, thank you so much for everything you do. Other producers this week are Jenna Say What? She had 4 wisdom teeth removed. That's fucking miserable.
That's
Johnny
rough.
Ramey, happy birthday. Tina Mines, happy birthday. That shit's belated. I'm sorry. Thomas Hughes, Robert Mahan, Mike Cernak, Bob with no last name, Jeremy Sturk, Thomas Smith. Whoa boy, fucking what did I do? Weebkey? Nope. That Weibkey? Nakchui? I'm so sorry. Brendan Abels, George Washington King, Ashley Vio, Eric Castillo, Leah LeBeau, Bex with no last name, Jennifer Visconti, Vicky Morley, Christy Stout, I think that's what I did, Trevor Ritchie, Sarah Snyder, yep, Allison Cannon, Liam Glowy, Danielle James, Amanda Knight, Kelsey, nope, that's Kelly, what did I do, Panosian? Ira Baird, Sun Tran, Duncan Burnham, Jimmy Davis, James Martyr, Britton Mahar, Megan with no last name, Jacinta Edmonds, Kenneth O'Sullivan, Peyton Meadows, Tracy Renninger, Diane McCreary, Candace Black, Chuck, was that Chuck? Yep, Greenman, Jimmy Eat World, which is probably not the band, but even if it is, thank you guys, they're from Phoenix. Yeah. Reagan Shockley, Keith Cole, Tim Bullion, Park Gary, he's terrific by the way, Logan and Haley Stratton, John Kay, Brian LeBeau, Michael Miller, what did I do? Douglin? Is that right? Cordy? Or is that Douglas? Probably Douglas. Nope, I don't know. Justin Switzer, Marissa Bean, Katie Fee, Andrew Thompson, Margaret Quackenbush. She donated both ways. Thank you. Carly with no last name, Colin the Dude O'Brien, Dan DeVries, Brianna Scott, Janice Hill, April Udy, Jeff Teal, TL, Liz Cassins, Corey, what is that? Hoisington, Josh Elliott, Sally Matani, Trey Volkanar, Ash Amburn, Timothy Bartlett, Abby Hinson, Todd Duncan, Maxwell Davis, Sarah Surridge, Carissa Spencer, Sarah Webb, Marillion, I think, Megan Brown, Seppi, Montarbo, no, Tara O'Neill, Danielle Marr, Brittany Lee, Mike Miller, Eric Schwartzrock, John Stewart, probably not the one though. Hannah Davison, Hannah Davis, Philip. What did I do here? Megason. Damn it. Chad Nicholson, Michael Espinoza, Josh Hughes, Jordan Stivers, Bob Belmonte, Eric Avenger.
Yeah.
Tick Gaming. I don't know. Lucia with no last name. Jeff Rockefeller. Jen Taylor, Maggie Russo, Cody Miller, Dan Adler, Leslie with no last name, Kelsey Walker, Jules Parmenter, Elizabeth Byeller, Sam Stinson, Amanda Roop, oh boy, it's got characters over E's, Helene Young, Helene, I don't know, Scott Stevens, James Grieve, Dylan Derringer, David Smith, Brittany Gann, Chris Courier, Andrew Morales, Dan Carbonneau, Paul Watkinson, what did I do? Cage Heath, Christopher Harnack, Kim with no last name, Carly G, Chris Thompson, Madison Mathis, Lisette Marte, I think, George Spizzano, God damn it, Amanda Rainwater, Noah Wooten, Adrian Connor, Nick Laterno, and if that's the son of Mary Jo?
Mary G.
Mary Ann? Mary Kay?
Mary Kay Laterno, there you go.
If that's your mom, bro, I'm really, really sorry that you lost her. If not, hey, hang in there, you're probably doing fine.
Yeah, you're
fine. Ron Burgundy's nuts? Gotcha. All right. Dana Cook, Nate Stein, Jessica Skanu Broussard, I think, Kristen Bremer, Jackie Tucker, Carlos Galvez, Sarah Schmidt, Jennifer Resner, David Jacobs, Celeste the Best, Douglas Daly, Bogan Yoda, Tony Maldonado, Garnett DeWalt, William Peck, Jess Hall, Brandon Van Diemen, Alina, God damn it, Montroy, Alinia, Mary Douthit, Elizabeth Kate, Robin with no last name,
the
Rachel
wheels
Wallace.
Have come off the cart, everyone.
Antoinetta with no last name, Seth Laguerre, David Meyer, Anthony Kripal, Christopher Hoffman, William Kirkpatrick, Wayne Kolodny, Jessica Freeman, Rebecca with no last name, Chris Battaglia, Taylor Schulte, Adrian with no last name, Sarah Nicola, Jennifer Alvarado, Tyler Douglas, Scarlett Jekyll, Damian Cabrera, Annie and Theodore Katz, Megan Young, Tommy McAfee, Jorge Torres, Caroline Duffy, Brian Shute. No, that's Bran Shute. Got it. Like an asshole.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm on board. Caitlin, afterwards. Caitlin Coleman, Christina Neal, Charles McPhee, Kyle Klotz, Beth Green, Anne-Marie Fisherback, Jordan Roberts, Dustin Grant, Veronica Stanwyck, Nolan Heaton, Bobby Metters, Jacob Christensen, Jordan Rollerson, Nicole Galvani. There's a G in there that's silent, I'm sure. Erica B., Captain Surly, Jane Patrizzo. Congrats to Colonel Mike Mahan, by the way. The man was promoted to Colonel. Congratulations.
Hey, congrats.
You get the whole bird's nest or whatever the fuck your wife told me to
Full
say.
bird. Full bird.
Is that what it is? I don't know what that means. Does that mean you own the bird?
Yes.
You got the bird. It's
thing,
from the asshole to the beak. It's all yours.
It's all yours,
Diana
pal.
Torres, Jane Patrizio. I said that. Lindsay Easton, I think. Stephen Davis, not the running back. Jason Underwood, Ashley Ellis. Happy birthday, Meredith Moore. Krista Dupont, Audrey Marie, Todd Cochran, Corey Officer, Alex Green, August Barney Arnson, I think. Anna Hidden, Sandra with no last name. Lisa Love, Scott with no last name. What is this? Corey Boone, William Justice, Brian, not Brian. Robinson, Charlie with no last name, Jennifer with no last name, Christopher Waugh or Roy, Lisa Atkinson, Erica Petzinger, Jeremy Barrow, Miranda Trump, I'm sorry. That was terrible. Sean Fuller, Alex Sensabaugh, Jason Till, Nick Giersbach, Rachel Garcia, Britt and Lou Garcia, Jason Covert, Hannah Moget, I think, Mark Gilbert, Amelia Francesco, Eric Taro, Hayden D. Sweet, I think that's what that is, Lauren with no last name, Pamela McMillan, Brand Gayhart, Jesus Christ. Callie Cochran, Mark Norton. Jesus, this is so easy. Laney Vicant.
Yeah, Mark Norton's an easy one.
Laney Vicat. I don't know. Angela Riley.
Some shit.
Niel Hune. Nigel. It's probably Niel, right? The
Nigel?
J's probably might be Nigel. Probably not. Becky Knox, Ace Finch, Jolene Herbstritt, Jessica. You okay? Jessica Lawrence, Nolan Betterman, that's Mark O'Hare, Joy Freeman, Kendall Diamond or Demond, Thorsten Gross, homestretch, goddammit, Casey Barton, Julia Pearson, ELM Elm Knits 76, Nicole Leslie, Lynn Van Hoos, Kelly McRae, Melissa Patrick Mox, what did I do? Moss? I think it's Moss. Barb Barnes, Mina, Aslama. Are you, what? Rob Holberg, Celia Early, Elizabeth Hadding, Alexis Coleman, that's a different way of spelling Alexis. It's like a porn star almost. Yeah. That's a nice one. It's got a Y in it.
Ooh.
Sandra Apodaca? Nope. Maybe. Cameron Bromley, Kevin Benedetti, and Kenneth Weld's daughter. He's a driver, and Kevin dates his daughter. Huh. I don't know why that matters. I don't know why I wrote it. I'm sorry. Matt with no last name, Kristen Gillette, Ashley Owens, Kyle Elbert, Rob Schnitzer, Carl Dennis, Sarah Furr, Matt Dearden Hill, what? Rachel Anson, M with no last name, no name, just an M. Hey. Samuel Chavez, Isley Smith, Kira with no last name, Taylon Rose, Craig Duffel, or Duffy, what? Sarah in LaFrance, I think, Gina Deardurian, what? Durdurian, Susan Cassidy, Shelley, all... What'd I do? Larry, listen, and all of our patrons, you guys save our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Man, you guys are just unbelievable, and you keep us going.
Right.
You keep us afloat. You guys know what you're doing. You're doing amazing work for us. Thank you.
The show goes down the river because of you, so
it really does. It keeps floating on, and
You're the current and the boat.
You are the cinder block pushing down our gas pedal, trying to shoot us off the side of a cliff. Thank you.
COVID is the dug-in tires sitting on that differential. No, tires not touching the ground.
Not enough clearance under that car. It sucks, man. So what if people wanted to get a hold of you and tell you whatever the hell they want to tell you?
I'm reluctant to say because in 4 days a man gets out that may not enjoy this. So
maybe he will.
You
were
can
fair.
Find me on social media if you want. But I listen.
Yeah, I'm open to
I root
listen,
on you.
I don't know. Shit.
You've paid your debt, I suppose. Where can I find you?
You can find me at Jimmy P is funny and do that. And I don't know how I feel about the I don't know how I even feel about that case.
This story sucks.
It's just a shit story.
It's a tragedy
from
front to end.
Yep. Didn't want bad things to happen to him. Didn't want bad things to happen to her. It sucks.
It's horrible.
It's shit. So
I'm going to go hug my kids.
Let's do that. Everybody, go hug your kids or your cat or your dog or your fucking parents or whoever you got around you.
Whatever can do you harm, go hug it.
Whoever's not diseased around you, give them a hug.
That's a good point. Don't hug them.
Don't
Just
hug
look
everybody.
at them and be like, I wanted to hug you.
Look at them warmly.
I was going to hug you.
And say, until next week, everybody. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.